called upon the epitaph, gaze upon thine works and despair. And before this great statue, all that was left being its legs and the stele was nothing but wasteland. That's kind of what I feel like tonight, and I really don't want to fucking do this piece of shit book. The name is Adam.
And I'm ImpCit, and get ready to enter the exciting world of Lara Croft and post-colonial theory.
I want to be embalmed while alive. Welcome to Tomb Raider, the RPG, made by the same people who made Thirsty Swords Lesbian, or as I like to call it, the Abuser System. And, oh boy, we're in for a treat, guys. How much do you like Powered by the Apocalypse? Yeah, we gotta deal with that. Oh, and remember Candela Obscura? Yeah, they stapled the rule system from that onto it. I am so excited. You can tell from my desire to just crawl into my own grave. So this is the playtest version. We
Yeah,
we
the official version is not out, I think, until next year, but luckily we have a public copy of, I believe, a public playtest.
at least that's what we're going with. I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
I assume so.
I hope so.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not like they're selling this, so
So with that in mind, we already can see kind of the atmosphere that we're entering in because we have the person who literally can't do this because I'm going to be frank, those running prosthetics don't work well outside of level ground. They just don't. All you can do is run. It's very awkward and difficult. So this person would literally fucking die on the first trap in the tomb. Then we have Bishonen Rule 63 protagonist, or maybe someone cross dressing. I don't know. Then we have Predator, as I'm going to call Mr. Man Bun, because this person kind of looks like they'd get outed as an essayer in a couple years. Just kind of has that energy.
as
And
a member, wait, hold on, as a member of the Nazi Party?
oh no, he wishes he was part of that.
Oh, different essay.
The same type of SA kind of person that the person who made Beast the Primordial was. And last but not least, it's not cultural appropriation when we do it.
In this case, what culture is it appropriating?
Lucha Libre, because it kind of looks like a luchador mask. I don't know. I'll be frank, I don't like any of the designs, and I have seen the cover for the more finished book, the one they're going with. These ones take front stage with Lara Croft in the back, like looming over them like some evil giant. It's almost comical. So yeah, thanks, Evil Hat. Very cool. Very cool for making this.
So here's what they say is inspired by it. Passion de... Oh God, no, I've read this. Passion de la Pasiones. It was a RPG where you're playing as a Spanish telenovela.
That actually sounds a lot more interesting than what the fuck we're about to read.
It does. Next up is a book that uses Powered by the Apocalypse. Then,
Powered by the Apocalypse. Oh, some. I'll actually get. I'll actually try to explain why that system is so shitty. Because we've mentioned it, we've complained about it quite a bit because it's kind of this current generation iteration of tabletop gaming's open game license. It's basically the first thing that hacks always pick because it's just you don't have to actually edit anything, you can just use it as is. And it's also minimal effort, so fuck it. The other inspirations include Brindlewood Bay, Monster of the Week, The Between, Sprawl, Hearts of Wulin, Blades in the Dark, which that actually does kind of make sense for this because Blades in the Dark is legitimately just a heist game. And funnily enough, Candela Obscura used its system essentially to make what it used. Is that the
and
cast
finally,
of Dustborn? I don't know, Pagan Pilot. I can tell you that the runny legs, the springy legs, just aren't very good for anything but running. That's their purpose. So,
Well, Alex did bring up a point of saying, imagine the acrobatics.
Not with her weight class. Not with her weight class, and they're not really designed for that sort of thing.
Actually, I could imagine that for like a Mario game.
Hey there, Servant of Wrath. Good evening, everyone. Is this as bad as I hoped? It is a blades. It's the Blades in the Dark combined with Powered by the Apocalypse. I don't have anything negative to say about Blades in the Dark since I don't really remember how Candela Obscura used it, but I do have a lot to say by Powered by the Apocalypse. Also, I have a lot to say when we get into the on colonialism section, which is very much in the beginning. It's front loaded with shit.
So, fun fact though, a few pages down, they talk about the fact this is a playtest. They have a Discord server, and they have a feedback, which we've looked up. You can actually is still up. So, feel free to submit the feedback.
At least if you feel like you can provide suggestions on how to improve this game. I would first of all suggest just removing Powered by the Apocalypse. That alone would actually improve this game by quite a bit. So welcome
So,
to the world of Tomb Raider, which unfortunately I never really played any Tomb Raider games. I just know it as that cheeky cunt who basically shoots ghosts for a living while stealing shit. Am
I saw
I
it
am
as
I spot
female
on?
Indiana. I never played it. I just saw it as female Indiana
I know
Jones.
she's British. I know she's British and shot Bigfoot. That's about all I know. She's basically Indiana Jones but British and a lot less basically a lot less caring about the material. She literally steals it because that's her job. She's not an archaeologist, she just steals shit.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't that the character from the last Indiana Jones film?
Oh god. And you know the
That
worst
was.
that was. Also, you know the worst part about that is that that's the same actress that got tapped to do the Tomb Raider movie. So hey, do you like watching a person who's known for killing a franchise because she was also the Fleabag actress and comedian, if I remember. Hey,
From
do you
what I
want to
heard,
see a
Fleabag.
comedian actually ruin another franchise? Let's go. Here we go.
So the themes. The truth is hidden. The truth is dangerous. The truth is not ours alone.
Even though
Truth
the whole
takes
point is you
control.
steal shit. Like from what I remember in the IDOS games, from what little I know, you literally are just stealing shit to either prevent cultists from using it or just legitimately because it's money.
Oh, no, no, no. In this game, we're not stealing treasure. We're finding the truth.
Ah, yes, the hidden truth where we was Kangs and shit. Got it.
To quote Simpsons, there's the truth, and then there's the truth.
Tomb Raider in learning that the moon is a hologram made of cheese.
So the next page talks about on colonialism.
So this is gonna suck.
So when we talk about colonialism in the modern context, we want to address people who have endured and continue to endure oppression on a cultural and individual level. Colonialism and its dire effects manifest in different ways across various cultures, each with their own complex histories to reckon with. The faces and struggles in one place aren't always the same in another.
So I'll say
Colonialism.
this.
Oh, wait, wait,
No,
wait,
no, no.
wait.
Let me give credit. This is slightly more enlightening than the post-colonial garbage you had me skim through as my education course on this shit.
The those are the intro. The theory has, I'd say, evolved, but it still is just basically
Feel sorry for us.
fuck the West.
Feel
Fuck the
sorry
West.
for us. Fuck the West. We're going to let another colonial organization like China or Russia fucking do it to us now.
Colonialism is an invisible and insidious influence that privileges powerful countries and cultures. Privilege and power that comes from historic and systemic control, manipulation, and violence. We seek to combat that insidious and acknowledge that we don't live in an equitable world.
So just
And
to let you know,
that's academic. That is absolutely academic right there.
yeah. Also straight up, this is just reframing the what's that terrible one that's just Marxist Leninist twaddle that you threw at me?
That would be Franz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth, which is one of the foundational texts.
That's just really reframing that shit and removing the communism from it.
Yeah, I mean, if you
And
basically,
recognizing
he was
that
a
it was written solely for French Africa, which had a completely different colonial system than the English one did.
So they then talk about raiding. And how does it mirror colonial practices? Raiding involves going to ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts. It operates on the assumption of finders keepers.
We usually call that a grave robbing. You could just call it that. That's what I call it.
And so later games addressed this by having lore
Ah, yes,
acknowledge
the
her past
Riona
mistake.
trilogy, as I call it. So the Riona trilogy is the remakes, where it basically it's also called the Survivor trilogy. Basically, they handed a British IP made by British people to Americans, and they said we need to treat her as a more serious character and show that she's a survivor by mutilating her as badly as we can to the point where we, in retrospect, accidentally created fetish porn out of it.
I mean, you could have just stopped at Viv's a British property handed to Americans. When has that ever actually gone well?
Oh, the best part is then Tomb Raider was sold off because Square Enix wanted to make NFTs. They needed NFT money, so they sold Tomb Raider.
So,
By the way, the current IP holder is a Texas slop factory, as I like to call it. No offense, Aspire, but basically what you do is you just kind of crank out remakes. That's kind of your thing is. That's what, kind of why I call it a slop factory. It's currently owned by Embracer. Well, technically Aspire under the Embracer umbrella.
so what this means with the whole clones thing is you need to play respectively. Treat other characters like people you know from real life, even if they're
Lara
from
Croft
locals
shot
you're
Bigfoot and
unfamiliar with.
aliens. What the fuck are you on about, lady?
Aim to respect and celebrate the local communities and allies you encounter.
Bigfoot lives matter.
Examine the harm your seekers have caused or people like your seekers. Uh,
I'm just
so
I'm just
again,
envisioning that, but I'm envisioning like the poorly pixelated PS1 version of Lara Croft going, "Hey, give me back me shit, you motherfucker," in a Cockney accent as she shoots at Bigfoot. I'm sorry, that's what I'm envisioning.
now you don't need
Or
to
like stealing an alien flying saucer to hawk for fucking drug money.
now you don't need to play as a perfect hero in this game, as anti-colonial, critical theory, queer theory, whatever you call it. It's
Whatever
all
toilet paper degree you have, yeah.
it's all about doing better, striving to do better.
Maybe the thing you tell others you should do yourself first. Hmm. Hmm. So what you're saying is I didn't have to read the Marxist-Leninist twaddle if this is the extent of it.
Actually, I think there's more later on, but next is the basics of the
Wait,
RPG,
does that
which
mean I
is
also didn't have to read the insane Arabian man who tried to deny what the Arabs did?
no, you didn't. I literally just put that up as a joke.
Oh,
I
I
I entire I did not mean for anyone to actually read those academic texts. It was literally a joke.
oh, I will get my revenge.
Oh, you didn't actually have to read the text, unlike what I had to do in school.
The scope and shape of it will vary, but I will get my revenge.
So when they come to the RPG, obviously there's the basics, and then there's what they call cats, which I presume a lot of the developers have.
I mean, it's either that or having to socialize with humans, and that's too hard.
Yeah, they might have differing opinions.
Oh
So,
no, they're turning this into another shitty this is why you don't get toilet paper majors to write your shit because you get basically lesson plans.
so you have concept, which is obviously the truth seekers trying to find
You like how they're
ancient
calling them
mystery.
truth seekers rather than what they actually do, which is rob fucking graves.
Yes, be honest, they are robbing dead civilizations, which also somehow have ancient constructs, maybe spirits, and there might
No,
be, I
no,
don't
no,
know,
no.
aliens.
There's not maybe. Laura Croft, I have looked this up. Laura Croft did actually fucking fight ghosts and cultists who used ghosts.
Yeah, it's kind of divorced from reality at that point.
I'm pretty sure she also fought a demon at some point. I know she has shot Bigfoot. And I'm not
You know what?
joking. Like, she actually has fought the fucking Sasquatch.
You know what I also realize? Despite how much they claim, like most of the inspiration for this is Indiana Jones.
Which,
Out of
hey,
the
Laura
out of the
Croft
three
was.
out of the three good films, he only took one item, which was then taken by the government and sealed up because it's an actual weapon made by God.
Also, you could argue that the Uncharted series is more about the discovery of the artifacts rather than wanting them for yourself. That's kind of Nathan Drake's thing.
So the
Also,
other thing,
unlike the other two, guess who gets remade all the goddamn time? This franchise. No, seriously, I've seen a development time of all the Tomb Raider shit. They pump something out like every fucking year. It's goddamn insane.
so the next part of the cats is aim. So this is
You
what
do need good aim if you're going to shoot
yeah,
ghosts after stealing
your
their item
your
that keeps them on this
characters.
plane.
They say adventures are going to take 6 to 10 sessions,
No.
um, and they're going to be
Why are you
compelling.
treating this like a lesson plan? Adventures are organic, you idiots. Oh god,
No,
is this because of Powered by the Apocalypse? Because
we're gonna have 6 to 10 sessions, 2 hours long every week. Make sure that you read the written material and prepare accordingly.
God, imagine being forced to read Poor Wretched Souls or whatever that shit was before showing up.
I had to.
The worst part is you had to pay money to.
Well, it was on a class on nationalism, and well, it fits considering well African nationalism. But nevertheless, the next is Tone. It is in a game of action adventure at incredibly high stakes.
It's also
It is
rather
also
cheesy if you gave a shit about the IDOS games.
it also advocates post-colonial truths and anti-colonial narratives. This
She
includes
robs
providing
graves. Your
this
argument is invalid.
this includes providing non-violent alternatives, though violence can be a necessary
She
tool, especially to
shoots
protect most
Bigfoot.
important,
Your argument is invalid.
focusing on alliances and relationships, being respectful of cultures and their history told on their own
You
terms.
kill ghosts to steal their gems to make a money. Your argument is invalid.
Now, the next thing is subject matter and content note, which would technically make this acronym CATSMACNA.
No, it's just cats. It's just
No,
cats.
CATSMACNA. Matter and subject content note. So it includes themes of animal violence, supernatural threats, colonial violence, generational trauma, systemic cultural oppression, and similar subjects.
Hey, you like how they're kind of accidentally revealing their racism by proving that they believe in genetic memory?
I don't know if they're, but it is a concept.
Generational trauma kind of reads a little too close to genetic memory when you say it
No,
that
no,
way.
it is an actual concept, which I could guess basically be like
That means you
things
got
that
that.
happen. Well, the things that happen to your grandparents or something like that, and they warn you about it, or you're culturally aware of things.
Oh, by the way,
But
Dark Sun, it is partially powered by the apocalypse. I'm going to fucking bully that system so bad in this stream. Fuck this system.
while we try to design as much as we can to mitigate and address the harms of colonialism in this genre, we cannot encompass all the ways that it can manifest. Anti-colonialism in game design is still an evolving practice, and we hope that future iterations will keep improving.
In my
This game is
opinion, I
actually
feel like they don't even know what they're arguing against. It's just fuck the West, and they don't even have the education basis that the Marxist Leninist guy that I had to skim through did.
well,
Because you know
remember,
what he had? Personal fucking experience. Do you want to know why? He saw what the Pied Noirs did to the native Algerian population when he wrote that shit.
the
He experienced some of that shit too, by the way.
yeah, the thing is, remember, they said colonialism is pretty much pervasive and invisible. So,
What makes this any different from gang stalking?
um, you know who the people are that are stalking you. In this case, it's the Western civilization.
Uncle Sam is watching. Uncle Sam always watches. John
So,
Bull always watches. He wants his money back.
I mean, one thing I point out, language. The language is clearly coming from English, which was a colonial power, which means that we probably need to write this in a non-colonialist language.
So, by this logic, Chinese, Arabic, and the Bantuistic languages that extend from the Congo all the way down to South Africa also would count.
I suggest one of those Aboriginal languages that 3 people know.
I would actually suggest Basque. Personally, I think Basque would be very fitting.
Yeah. Then we have the multiple safety tools in a game
Ah, yes, safety tools. Because just
that doesn't
talking with your
involve sharp
players,
materials.
just talking with your players, fuck that. Fuck that. Admittedly, there are use cases I've noticed that actually do work. I did mention a while back, but there was actually a time every now and again you do something and you focus really hard on horror or you focus really hard on being descriptive and you accidentally just get someone's skin to crawl. For example, I have on accident activated someone's enemophobia, and in a game that I played in, um, someone basically got squicked out when the visceral description of a guy carving his way out of a monster got to them. So it can happen. It's just traditionally what you do is
You
you put on your
talk.
big boy, yeah, you put on your big boy pants and talk it through.
So we have and 4 safety tools that I haven't seen before:
I think they're just
green, yellow,
reframed.
yeah, green, yellow, and red, which
I've
basically
seen
the
I've
same
seen
thing.
green, yellow, and red. That's basically similar to some types of X cards actually do that, where green's fine, yellow means you got to be cautious about, and then red's like a hell no.
Yeah.
I've seen that
Uh,
before.
Pause, reload, skip ahead. Um,
That's if they get squicked out by, like in the scenario of the dude carving his way out of the monster. It was mostly because of the visceral descriptions. Uh, we just kind of cut that part out really quickly, moved on,
Also,
and then
I
from
do
then
like
on, something like that happening was basically done in a very dry technical term.
I do like with the pause uh, part. You can technically stop a game and just fuck off, and then force everyone to play when you're ready.
Well, I mean, this is Powered by the Apocalypse. Let me actually get into complaint number one of Powered by the Apocalypse. There's no initiative. It's basically the players try to interrupt the DM's narration. So straight up, this is right out of Powered by the Apocalypse book.
Yep. A raised hand, which I'm gonna be honest,
This is this.
they're also being. Oh no, no, they actually. I thought they were going to be offensive by applying that you have to be in person, but they do bring up the raise hand function in a Zoom call or a raised hand emoji.
So low key, the more that this is described, the more this actually reminds me of like a fucking lesson plan again. Doesn't this kind of feel like you're about to read like how to teach like kids a fucking science class or something?
Yes,
God damn. What is it?
I think I've read these.
What is it with activists? What is it with activists that do that? Because
Well,
our
because
traveling home did the same shit. So did feminism.
you're all children, you need to learn or
Oh
unlearn.
yeah, the Jesuit missionary approach. That might be why.
Ah,
Stars
you're
and
right.
wishes.
Which is basically, hey, this is what I want to see. In which again, all this is basically session 0.
Stars and wishes straight up is a session zero. I
Yeah.
love how they keep reinventing session zeros.
Well, again, it fits. You always need to reinvent. Always need to have a revolution.
You always need to feel like you accomplished something even though you accomplished nothing.
It's the core rules. So you think the core rules, first of all, would be how to play the game?
No,
No, it's the conversation.
because this is PBTA slop.
Yep.
So how much money do you think Evil Hat paid to make this piece of crap?
Let's see. Well, they'd have to pay a licensing fee, so I don't know how much.
I mean, they're trying really hard to revive Tomb Raider as an IP, so probably more expensive than some.
Maybe tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Um, so phases of play. I think we'll just go with that because it tells us how we play the game. So we have the start of session phase, then we have the action phase, in which
Squirrel
we do our
Killer, they
action.
don't have educator degrees. The person that wrote this, if I recall correctly, has one of those toilet paper sub philosophy degrees based on critical theory, if I recall.
Ah, um,
I don't
then
think they have. If they do have an educator degree, maybe I don't know. I haven't really looked into the writer, but half the time I don't think they actually do. I think it's just what happens when you're in the basket weaving side of things.
hmm,
The evergreen college worthless degree sort of thing where you hope to join HR or something.
oh no, not even HR takes you.
Not anymore.
So
They
then
used to.
after the action phase, you have the campfire phase, in which you reconnect, rest, and recover. And then
Um, that's
you
kind
have
of basically how Powered by the Apocalypse sort of works, but I think that I don't know. It might just be something that they created personally.
then the investigation phase, which reviewing your truths and see if you can solve the mystery,
I
and then
hate the
the end of
term
session play.
truths. I hate the term truths because that low key reminds me of the hit television series Velma, and it also reminds me of the time they completely tried to culturally vandalize Egypt in the form of Cleopatra.
But don't let anyone tell you wrong. She was black, in
Gotta love
North
that bit of
Africa.
gotta love that bit of racism where anyone from Africa has to be black. Every human being from Africa has to be black.
Yeah, fuck the albinos, and fuck the white people, and everyone else who lives there. Because guess what? We're on a globe in a
You
globalized
should see some
society.
of the racism committed against the Indians that were ported over by the British to work on things in South Africa.
So
And vice
let's
versa,
see.
because there's a reason why Mahatma Gandhi was very racist towards Africans. He spent time in South Africa.
So when you are
Oh god,
well,
here we
when,
go. Powered by the Apocalypse. This is another thing I really fucking hate about it. So,
so you're
Powered by the
making a move.
Apocalypse really restricts what you can do because all of the actions you do in the narration, aka the combat or whatever, is done in the form of video game style fucking moves. You have a limited selection of moves that you can do. Not all of them make any fucking sense about how you can use them, and it's really up to the GM's interpretation of what you're trying to do and whether or not it even works. In Powered by the Apocalypse, you do actually have some progression, which allows you to swap out moves. But 9 times out of 10, you're not gaming long enough to get there. So you get your 4 moves like a Pokemon, and that's all you can fucking do. And good fucking luck, pal, if you don't have anything that's situationally good. That is a big problem with Powered by the Apocalypse, and that's why I genuinely hate the system. I actually low key kind of hate it more than Mork Borg, which is saying a lot because I think Mork Borg is even worse. Because what it did was rewarded lazy slop if it just had a good visual. This is just trash. This is self-replicating nanite gray goo trash.
I mean, let's be honest. At least Mark Borg has stunning visuals. Have you ever seen a Powered by the Apocalypse game with stunning visuals?
From what I understand, there's a couple that are pretty darn good, like Monster Hearts. I think that's one that's always brought up that's pretty good. There's also Apocalypse World, which is where the system comes from.
Ah,
By the way, if you're wondering, while it's still shit, it works a lot better in Apocalypse World. Why? Because you're in the post-apocalypse. I'll get into why I hate the system even more later.
and obviously you roll dice.
Yep.
You roll the number of dice based on these questions. For instance, when you explore, does this place remind you of your past? Do you have the time to explore
Fuck
safely?
your Socratic method.
And depending on your
Fuck you for
and
using this.
and depending on your seeker. So your stats don't matter. It's what is the context right now?
What a load of shit.
You have to base yourself on the present.
So, okay, since we're talking about how the dice system works, so a traditional Powered by the Apocalypse game, they don't actually modify. You do have the potential to modify dice. I believe this is from Blades in the Dark, the heist game that they're stealing from. I think this in particular is more from that because I vaguely remember Candela Obscura doing this. But in Powered by the Apocalypse, it's a straight 2d6 system. Anything at 9 and below is anything from 9 to I believe 6 is considered partial success. Anything below 6 is a failure, which just has bad consequences. 10, 11, and 12 equals success with no complications. Mechanistically, the most common dice results will constantly have you succeed but with complications. It is actually weighted against you, and even if you have a +2 bonus, which is usually the highest you can get, you're still basically dealing with more chances to fail than succeeding. It works in Apocalypse World because you're in a post-apocalyptic shithole where everything's partially broken.
Well, you see, you're an imperfect character, so it makes sense that you would fail, but remember, you just have to do the work and be better. Yes, I'm comparing leftist theory to Powered by the Apocalypse system.
Another fun thing about Powered by the Apocalypse is, again, players can straight up interrupt the DM. Oh, by the way, the DM, the way encounters and scenarios work, you have to have one of two things. You either have to arrange tables and setups for those sort of scenarios, just in case for the complications, or you have to make shit up on the fly. And then they have to make shit up on the fly to counter your shit on the fly.
So again, you have to do the work.
It is genuinely a fucking nightmare.
So yes, so the dice pool is entirely based on questions.
Which almost sounds cool, but then you think about it and it's really fucking stupid.
You can go up to 5, but you can also go up to 6 if you have your shadow question, which, from what I have read, is basically the what was it, the shadow from Wraith, but in this game.
This sucks.
So
The
you
duration of your move. Duration of your video game fucking move. Depending on the circumstances of a move, the results may push the story forward mere moments or last until the action picks up again. Ugh. Oh, here we go. The in rules depths. All dice pool starts with the move questions. Each move has 2 unique questions. Oh my god. This actually, I think, is worse than Powered by the Apocalypse. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I genuinely hate this. More important than the move questions is the seeker question. Each seeker has their own seeker question. Oh god, I hate this so much.
Who are you? What do you want?
The more you play Tomb Raider, the easier it will be to answer these questions in the same way a seeker gains valuable experience. I feel like the more you play this game, the worse you get at tabletopping. I feel like it actually has the opposite effect where you actually somehow get worse.
So you can add to your dice pool by having connections, such as a map.
By the way, I think that might be from Shadow Blades. I don't remember if it's also from PBTA, because this is kind of a slop pile.
You can have it from lore, from generational stories and folklore you learn
Genetic
directly from the
memory.
lore.
Oh, don't worry.
No,
I'll
no, no,
tap into
no.
my genetic memory as a
It's
member of the fucking Kado tribe. I'm gonna tap into my genetic memory, and then your eyes roll into the back of your head, and you just hear the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, and then you're like frothing on the ground, and then it's like, don't worry, guys, my
it's
ancestors have
it's
told
quite
me.
it's quite literally just folklore. It's fucking folklore
No,
and
I'm
myth
going with
and
genetic
stories.
memory because the way they
Though though
frame it's
though though
funnier that way.
though this does make it funny. Let's say you're exploring a tomb in Israel. So even if you have read the Bible, you still can't use the lore until you learn it from the people.
So you have to go to the local to the local
Local
synagogue,
synagogue.
and you get this like very confused and irate rabbi who's just like
Like,
he's just speaking Hebrew because he doesn't even want to deal with you. He can speak English fine, but it's like, get the fuck out. I'm about to
no, no,
do
no,
some
no.
services.
He's not even speaking Hebrew. He's speaking Yiddish.
He's
That's
speaking
how much
Yiddish
he doesn't give
purposely.
shit.
He's low-key just like, get out, get out, get out. And only after bothering him a few more times, he's like, fine, fine, we'll do it the conversion way. What do you want?
Um,
God.
what happened in the beginning? Like, what's Masada? Like based on the rules, yeah, you have to learn it from the land and the people. So you can look up the history of Masada, but you can't use it until you talk to somebody.
I'm just low-key envisioning something really fucking stupid. Where let's say you get this expert archaeologist. He is from India. Like he started, but his main specialities are actually in Southeast Asia. But because he's not from Southeast Asia, he has to consult the local he has to consult the local Khmer guide on the Wat, even though he got his doctorate on studying the Wats of fucking Cambodia. Like he literally spent years doing expeditions and studying these fucking structures. This would be like this would be like a person trying to recreate a fucking house in the style of Romanesque, and then they need to go to an 11th century. They have to like steal a time machine to go talk to like an 11th century fucking architect to learn how to build Romanesque buildings.
Well, you see, because this is acknowledging the ownership of these stories and making it centered on them rather than on academics and so-called experts not from that land. I'm happy that I've actually up on this stuff so I can actually understand it.
Loki, honestly, reading it from the point like the post-colonial stuff is less useful than you think, but it does give you an idea on the mentality. I'm kind of glad that despite the pain it caused me, I'm glad I at least did the fucking minimal research here,
So you have aid, allies, but then you also have bonds.
which are from that's basically from Powered by the Apocalypse because a lot of the system uses this sort of thing. Basically, by yourself you might not be able to succeed. One ape weak, together many apes strong, basically.
So you can gain bonds, but you can never lose them. In comparison to a game like Delta Green, where you are purposefully going to destroy your bonds as part of the narrative.
Bacon Pilot has a great point. If you're doing extinct cultures with no living inhabitants, you're fucked. Oh no, how are we going to get ourselves out of this ancient ruin built by the Etruscans? We don't know any Etruscan people.
Oh no, the mound builders, how do we know about them?
Meanwhile, you got someone with like Choctaw ancestry going, yo, that's like my ancestors. Do you want to talk to me? No, because you're not a mound builder. You just stole their culture. You appropriate. What fucking what, mate?
Yeah.
I'm,
I like it
I'm
as
like
Squirrel.
one-fourth
Yeah,
Choctaw, you asshole. What are you talking about?
as Squirrel Killer is saying, you know, that teaching their little sister favorite part of the RPGs, freedom. And yeah, this doesn't have freedom.
Not at all. Powered by the Apocalypse is one of the. It's funny because it's always one of the most restrictive systems. Despite that, it's so clapped out that it's all the freedom is based on the GM having to bullshit on the fly. It is infuriating to actually run.
Oh, by the way, so a few pages down, they have a page on advice on answering questions.
So
Now, I
yeah, they
know they're
also have
talking
gear,
about
but
in
yeah.
the game, but I am thinking this might actually also be how do you actually answer questions?
How do you answer a question if you don't know the if you don't know?
Let's see, interpreting the results. I'm skipping through some of this just because
Yeah, this sucks.
it. So
Intuition.
it's a D6. A 6 is a success. 4 through 5 is a limited success, and 1 through 3 is a crisis.
Hey, PBTA slop.
Oh, you
Because
got your mic
notice
on
the
that.
most successful results are only on
Are
sixes.
was what a 13% chance?
16 point repeating decimal 6. 16 and 2/3%. By the way, powered by the apocalypse applies the same thing. The only difference is you usually can add a bonus to your dice pool. Basically, you can slightly improve your result, but even then.
Let's see. You have conditions.
Now, admittedly,
Well,
this system uses dice pool, so it's a little less punishing than powered by the apocalypse, but it's still pretty stupid.
so actually, so conditions represent the emotional and physical wear and tear seekers will face over the course of their travels and travails.
Actually, do you mind? I'm gonna show the probability table. Someone made a beautiful probability table for why powered by the apocalypse is a big steaming pile of dookie.
Sure.
Alrighty, let's show you guys the fucking probability table. I came into this one guns blazing because I knew this was gonna be a fucking miserable experience. I also literally have Indiana Jones's magical artifacts just in case this gets too shitty. So let me show you. PBTA is shit. Witness. So let's start on the bottom with no modifications. Let me just expand
Behold,
dong just to show it.
behold, math.
So on no bonuses, you only get a 16% chance of success without complication. You get a 41% chance of success with complication and an over 41% chance of failure. Just sheer fucking failure. Well, what if we give a +1 bonus? You still only have a 25%, a little better than 25% chance, and now you're much more likely to succeed with consequences, which sucks for the DM and sucks for the fucking players, by the way. And also, failure is still really high. And then, even with +2, look, you still are more likely to succeed with complications or fucking fail with a +2 advantage. Look at that shit. By the way, it's also further broken down by percentages. The most common result, even on a +1, is success with complications. The most common result on no modification is alternatively success with consequences or failure. This system is ass, and the only reason people use it is they don't have to pay any fucking licensing for it. It's the cheap man's hack way of getting away with this shit.
The Unity asset version of this of a gaming system.
Straight up, fuck powered by the apocalypse. Moving on.
So you have conditions, and that's representing the emotional and physical wear and tear. So yes, you probably can kill somebody by calling them a bad name.
You literally
Although I
can
don't,
call them racial slurs or use insults, and you can die. You can
and
fucking die.
I think in this game you can just say you can call them a colonialist, and that will kill them. Although you don't kill yourself, you become your shadow self.
That just means you're dead, basically.
No, it's your darker side.
That's retarded. So wait,
And you
wait.
see,
That means low key. Low key. This means that it's even harder to kill a character in this fucking shit system than it is in the basic. Because I've known people that have actually played this awful system. Do you want to know how hard it is to actually break every fucking one of those boxes? It's a lot harder than you think. Because it's really trivial to heal them just by interacting with the group. It actually, while you can kill them by bullying them to death, it's a lot harder than you think. And they
so
remove that, which I think is based on Shadow Blades in the Dark or whatever the hell it's called, because I think it's even harder to kill people in that one than it is powered by the apocalypse.
I know that there were 2d6 systems like 20 years ago. How did this stuff break them? Because you could do complex things with it, and they'd have to incorporate that in their game.
Oh, well, you see, Nate. Well, you see, Nate, you're talking about Traveler. Traveler had this thing where you would roll your 2d6 and the challenge would be based on, well, on the number that you needed. And on top of that, you had skills that you can then apply to your dice roll. So, like, let's say you're rather skilled with computers, you might be able to get up to a +3. So, even on a complicated, oh, you need like DC 9, you might be able to pull it off at least 50% of the time. Who'd have thought that a game system made in the 19 fucking 70s actually thought through its mechanics harder, even though it was a hobby, than this fucking slop. that had thousands upon thousands of dollars fucking thrown into it.
So,
Keep in mind that Traveler was done on a goddamn budget compared to this.
in order to become a shadow self, you have to ask a shadow question. And no, it is not what do you want? Unlike in Babylon 5, it's asking a question related to your seeker.
Does this mean that a random witch lady will dance up to you and say, "What do you want?" and then you just cry, "I want to go home"?
No.
Sorry, it's just this book is so bad. I'm like flashing back to other bad things, and the Acolyte's kind of on my mind right now.
Um, so you have four shadow conditions. They are the harsher aspects of the seeker. So you basically become
This is like
what is
the
it?
one. This is like the One Ring, but shit.
Yeah, just become the evil version of yourself. So I'm assuming you just all get goatees.
Oh, Blades in the Dark. Sorry, Squirrel Killer. I just keep forgetting the name because I mostly remember it as the thing Candela Obscura stole for its system.
Let's see what
And
else.
that worked, but I don't remember it too good.
So you also have to modify results flashbacks.
You can have anime flashbacks. All right.
Yep. Um, move flashbacks and artifact flashbacks. An artifact one is, I'm assuming, based on the artifact.
Oh god damn it. You know how I can see this getting abused? Imagine you have a main person with main character syndrome. It's like, okay, you find the ruby. I use artifact flashback. What? And then you have to basically on the spot invent the backstory for why they even started treasure hunting in the first place. And then they can keep doing this with every fucking artifact.
Well, the thing is, considering if you're flashing back to the artifact, and considering how much it's buried, you could just have it just sitting there. That's the flashback.
Yeah, like I think this is actually somehow taking the worst aspects from Blades in the Dark, Forged in the Dark, and Powered by the Apocalypse. It's actually taking the worst aspects from both and adding a new shit. This is actually amazing. This might be one of the This might be the shittiest system that we've actually looked at besides Fatal. Like in terms of the rule, like in the rules light department, this is one of the worst. I actually think I hate this more than Derek's Crimson Dragon Slayer. And that piece of shit, you needed the player's handbook of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition to play half of the shit that he fucking listed. Oh yeah, my own rules light system. You still need the player's handbook though. Okay. Fucking okay.
So the the next thing is a shadow bargain. So this is choosing a Mark One shadow bargain
No,
to
you forgot the dumbest part. The move flashback is literally you're doing your move and then you do the anime flashback where like you have that moment and I hate it and I want to be embalmed while alive.
Oh dear lord. So the shadow bargain is it turns it to an automatic triumph, but it declares the player has gone too far to grasp success. This
Okay.
can look like a legacy immediately describing a cutaway scene where those who have been wronged by their legacy are now actively hunting them down.
Okay.
Um, after making the bargain, the seeker must immediately fall into their shadow self.
Okay.
So you can essentially do this. Let's say you're making breakfast and you somehow fail to make eggs.
Which can happen with powered by. No, it's even dumber than that. You're trying to butter toast.
You fail to butter toast and then you become Hitler.
No, you failed to butter toast, and you channel. No, here's what happens. You're playing a biblical scholar that's being hired on to work on a dig in Jordan, and you're failing to butter your toast. You channel your shadow self and become a member of the Jewish zealots who assassinated people randomly, the Sicarii, because you needed to butter toast. So you held this poor child at knife point, saying, "Make the toast for me, fucker." And then now you've become Sicarii.
Let's see.
Wait, so you're saying when my character falls into lava or gets shot, just walk away from it evil and the evil leaves by the
Yes.
end? Yes! You literally. Here's what could happen. You could get shot in the head 5 times by a cultist and then punched in the soul by Bigfoot. Like, Bigfoot walks up and punches you so hard your soul leaves your body. You fall 100 feet into a pit of lava. Your bones immediately start crackling into flames. And all you have to do to get out of it is to shadow bargain. And you literally rise out of that shit like the fucking Terminator.
And
This is the dumbest system that I think I've ever seen.
so
Holy shit.
yeah, shaping the story. You have trouble, basically the keeper throwing something at the players.
Oh no, basic adventure construction.
And then there's the truth.
Hey, look at. Oh, by the way, you like the formatting? I know this will get fixed out of the playtesting, but you like how only half a page is dedicated to trouble?
Well, because we have to talk about truth, which takes on many forms. Storied relics, whispered
AKA
secrets.
gaslighting yourself into believing that we was Kangs and shit.
Each truth is only gained in a fragment and a hint.
So what you're
Let's
saying is this is like the Cthulhu mythos, only shit?
yeah, it's like interesting. They have this talk of a character known as Yakub.
I'm low key just envisioning. An adventure where you find the artifact and it's just a medallion made out of Crayola fucking model magic. That's your truth.
So you gain truth during your action phase. When exploring, a seeker may spend valuable time to unearth the truth.
Which, hey, you know what I kind of hate about this the most? They're video gamifying one of my favorite aspects when it comes to running games. I love dungeon creation. I love when my players explore these settings that I build, particularly the abandoned, the ruined, the lost. What happened? Why did it happen? Working through the works of the giants that they basically the works of giants that have toppled before their time. Like, that shit is my jam. And then they video gamify it into this slop.
So the most consistent way of gaining truths is by choosing the option that grants 1 on a 4 to 6 result of an action. But typically, though, other actions require a 6 or a triumph. So it's literally 50% or 16%.
Hey, do you like going through a dungeon, rolling a random d6 and saying, "Nope, sorry pal, you're too fucking stupid to look at the cool shit that I fucking made as the
Hold on.
goddamn GM.
I've got a
Uh,
dice here.
just fuck my
Nope, I
shit
didn't get a
up."
truth. I got a truth. No truth. No truth. No truth. And I only got 1 truth out of 6 die rolls, and that's on a 4.
Oh,
Isn't this a
that's
fun
a great
isn't
one.
this
That's a great
isn't
comment.
this a fun game?
I
I'm
love that
rolling 1
comment,
dice.
also. I love that comment, also. Straight up, I'm just envisioning for the flashback mechanics. Hey, Lois, remember that time we found the Holy Grail?
You must choose wisely.
Yeah, whatever. And he picks the beer hat and starts chugging from it. How did you know? Know what?
That actually would be a good Family Guy cutaway. So you let's see. Seekers must be aware of the context of the artifact and its culture, the relationship between past and present, and the mythic and supernatural paths between them. So each
So,
adventure has its own facet.
so straight up, um, you have to respect the artifact, which makes sense. But the way they frame it is in such a this shitty way. Like, yes,
Because,
every now and again we do get the concept of a thing wrong. It happens.
because again, the people living there obviously know what's best.
Even if they didn't even know this thing existed, they only knew about
They,
the building, and that
yeah, they
was
clearly
through
know.
legends. But
Uh,
you want to know an example of this? So, fun fact: if I recall correctly, there's a tribe called the Paiute that actually talked about a legendary battle they fought with red-haired giant cannibals. Basically, these 7.5 foot tall hairy red men that ate people, and that's part of their truth, right? That's their legend.
Yes.
So guess what? We eventually went out digging, and a long time later, we actually found a cave that detailed pretty accurately, not the giant skeleton cannibal thing, but detailed accurately the Paiute exterminating that tribe, because during that time period, the waters in the Great Basin were, well, receding and turning into salt flats. So it was either them or the tribe that they exterminated by blocking the cave and suffocating them with fire.
And again, you can't judge them for what they did. That's colonial imposition on them. You,
I
let
mean,
me see.
don't get me
You,
wrong, it was either them or the other tribe, but still, I'm pointing it out. Like that's a kind of an example where they took an event that happened and embellished the fuck out of it, because we found their bones and they were basically about the same. I think they were slightly larger, but only by a little bit, like a couple inches on average. We also found like other neat things like wooden duck lures. Like they would actually carve these fake ducks, because they used to hunt ducks because there used to be lakes there. It's really
hmm,
cool.
yeah. So now the
That
thing is,
that's
you
the thing.
can't just.
Learning about a culture from, we do use folklore. Like that's the thing in archaeology. We do use folklore because it tells you quite a bit. It does. Like for example, by this logic, you talk to the local Quechua, they mentioned Pumapunctu was the place of the gods. Like if you talk to like them during the Incan Empire times. But then you find out, no, no, like through later documentation, you figure out, no, it's not that. It seems to be that there was an culture before them called the Aymara that built it. But because of the creation myths of the Incan Empire, they couldn't actually attribute that, so they had to essentially edit it so that it was the palace of gods. Because the Aymara did a couple of things that the Incans weren't able to at the time, including basic coppersmithing.
But
Basically,
how
they
would you?
experienced a minor cultural collapse.
But how would you know that? You'd have to talk to the Aymara, or otherwise
By
you're
the way, they're still
impositioning on
around.
them.
By the way, they are still around, actually.
Oh, so yeah, yeah, you could talk to them.
But
But
but they wouldn't know too much about. They would just know that, yeah, our ancestors lived there, and some basic mythology. Because that's the thing, the word that is spoken by a folklore is one of the most likely to mutate ones out there. It's why a lot of fun Irish folk tales exist. It's because what happened was they weren't allowed to actually teach Catholic Mass. The English for a time actually banned it. So what they had to do is they had to do the similar parables through their own folk tales, and it mutated. That's where the concept of the devil being very easy, like walking the earth, came about, because they would use like a devil figure essentially in a lot of those stories to represent the evil temptation stuff that they usually taught.
Pagan said, also, by this game's logic, one group living on the remains of another could define the truth of the first despite not being that group. But that's not colonialism.
Technically, that's what
This,
happened with Great Zimbabwe. The Mudapun Empire actually claimed kinship to them despite not being from that area at all.
or it's like how, I don't know, a lot of our government buildings kind of look like Roman architecture.
Yeah.
We're kind of reflecting that legacy.
Hey, remember when fundamentalists blew up Buddha statues in Afghanistan?
Yeah, that was their
Hmm.
truth.
Hmm.
Their truth is that they need to reset the entire society back to when the Quran was written.
Also, fun fact, originally the Sphinx was thought to be a human statue because it was buried by massive sand dunes. Because they knew about it, but like they thought it was mostly lost due to erosion or just areas, because a lot of Egypt, because Egypt went through a long period of things like that. We
Also, a
also
lot of
found a bunch
sand.
of we also found a bunch of other pyramids and pyramid sites where they collapsed. Because here's the thing: the Great Pyramids, they for every Great Pyramid, they built quite a few earlier ones that didn't last as long.
So the you're in this game, you are actually in a race against the clock against your nemesis.
Oh boy.
So yeah, you have a tracker as well.
Yay! That's
And
similar
then
to Blades in the Dark. That's a mechanic they have actually.
and then you have self-discovery. So you can gain moves and gear and retire, which is what you should
When I
do.
think of self-discovery, I just kind of low-key envision them waking up and then realizing, wait a minute, through my genetic memory and the fact that I was able to crawl out of magma like the fucking Terminator, I am actually an alien from another dimension.
And then you have team advancement.
Oh yeah, it's a complete shithole, not Nito. This sucks. This book
Yeah.
is ass.
I need you to go to page 39 right now.
Hell yeah. 39. Phases and moves. Good God, fuck this. Oh! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Ah, here we go. This is the best example of why Powered by the Apocalypse is nothing but tumorous cancer. It is lethal to any system you fucking make if you'd use it. The only ones that have ever done it with any justice is fucking Monster Heart and Apocalypse World. And I wouldn't even suggest those two anyway.
Who wants a flowchart in their game? And not the fun one like
Oh my
World
god,
of
I'm
Darkness
so
has.
happy because I was so tempted to show the Aliens RPG that Leading Edge Games made. I so wanted to, and they did it. These stupid bastards did it. Woo! Now, in fairness, they still have a year to develop this, so they might make it better, but I fucking doubt it.
Zoom in on that gloriousness.
Let's
So
look at that. We need to look at the horrible. Oh
so
yeah.
so your adventure begins. Um, you then go
Action
to your
phase. You
phase.
explore, run, jump, swing, and fight your way to safety.
So once you do that, you catch your breath.
No, you forget they then go into this complicated area where they show you examples.
Yes. So then you can catch your breath, and if you're in safety, you can investigate. If not, you have to take a rest. You have to take a rest. You could never not take a rest. Unlike, let's say, a game like Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, things are shit when a video game actually has more freedom than you do. God, take examples from fucking roguelikes, why don't you? Those usually have more liberation than Powered by the fucking Apocalypse.
So then, after you're done with the campfire, actually no.
They stole
If
it
you
from Darkest Dungeon.
if you go to the investigation phase, you can't. You go to if from the campfire phase, you can go
Oh
back
no
to
no
the
no no!
action
The
phase.
campfire phase. Literally, they stole from Darkest Dungeon. Look at that shit. Look at that shit.
If only monsters could come out and rip your fucking flesh.
By the way, 10 wounds. This is why it's really hard to kill a character in Powered by the Apocalypse games. I'm. Oh no! Pagan Pilot is becoming his shadow self. It's destroying him.
Oh no, he's becoming monotheist
Oh no!
tanker.
Oh no! He's becoming Julian the Apostate. He's going to prosecute and pogrom the Christians. His
So
genetic memory is turning him into an ancient Roman emperor.
yeah, so if you reach your tomb, you can link the truths together, and if not, go all the way back to the action phase.
Linking truths. I've connected them. You didn't connect shit. I connected them.
So once you have
By
found
the way, the flowchart's complicated because we missed the investigation phase, which requires you to
find connections, well, no, the
oh
investigation
god.
phase is needed to reach the tomb. So once you have figured out that you need to say friendship in Elvish, you can then find the entrance.
Like I'm actually looking at the flowchart and it's actually confusing to read. This
A dark,
sucks.
a dark sun, we mean tend wounds, as in take care of them.
Yeah, 10 to wounds.
Darn English and the fact that so many sounds sound alike.
Darn accents and dialects which change
So
up how you say. I'm from the Atlantic coast. What do you expect? Oh, you gonna fight about? You want me to fight about it? You want to pick a fight with me about that?
wait, what do you call soft drinks then.
Soda.
I thought it was pop up there.
No, pop's once you cross the Appalachians, and if you go south, it's
Uh,
Coke. Not even
so
kidding. If you go south, they usually call most sodas a Coke.
even if it's not Coke.
Oh, they just say, "Hand me a Coke," and when you give them a Coke, they're like, "No, no, no, that Coke," and then they point to like the fucking orange soda.
Pagan, link conflicting truths from two indigenous groups. I dare you. Oh boy! Oh boy! We have this ancient Israelite truth that says we have to kill the Amalekites, and then we have the Amalekites.
No, I got something even funnier because you could actually see this with a lot of tribes, not just in Africa, but in the Americas, where they have different conflicting concepts. Because the Nahuatl, particularly the Aztecs, had their own take on the Mesoamerican gods. Because they venerated Huitzilopochtli way more than the Quetzalcoatl and the other ones that they had.
Hmm.
Actually, here's another example. Even if you compare Egypt, people think it's one continuous culture. No, it changed rapidly. For a time, the mortuary cults of Osiris actually dominated. Then Horus would actually gain more prominence.
And
Then
then there's that
eventually
one,
Amun, and then Amun-Re when he absorbed the sun aspect.
and then there's that one guy who said there's one god, and his name is was it Akhenaten
Aten being
or
the
Aten?
disk of the sun that Ra was known to ride. And then finally, you had the Greek period, which basically changed things up.
So once you have found the tomb or the entrance to the tomb, you then explore it. You just you can traverse it.
Final tomb!
You listen to it, decipher the tomb, use action moves. Once you have done that, you can enter the heart and look upon the heart.
This is just stealing the plot of Darkest Dungeon and making it shit.
You must bring Wraithguard with you. I have need of it.
No. What happens
Actually,
is
actually,
you get to the tomb's heart, you listen to its truth, and the tomb's heart tells you it needs about tree fitty. So you look at it and you realize you're talking to a giant fucking reptile.
no, I was saying you play this and you're actually in was it a Kulikon or wherever Dagothur's hiding? And yeah, at the end it's like, oh yeah, you have Dagothur. And you have the false copy of Sunder, and you are not the Neverine. You're dead.
I'm also just envisioning the adventure phase flow with the mimetic version of Moon Knight, where he's just trying to hunt Dracula to get his fucking money. He kicks open the tomb's heart. Where are you, Dracula? You fucking nerd. Where's my goddamn money?
So if so now you have to ask, did you reach it in time? Now we don't know. Now there's no yes or no, so we have no idea what happens. You can Oh, well, actually no. If you got there with the racetrack completely filled, you survive the truth, and if you have unmarked boxes, you discover the truth. You face the aftermath, and did the racing heart track fill before you found the final tomb? You still face the aftermath, and the adventure concludes.
Yeah, this is one of the worst flowcharts I've ever fucking seen. Well, it's not the worst, but it is a really badly designed one.
Yeah, so I think with that we kind of understand the game, which is you go, you roll a six-sided dice, you explore.
Well, not just one. You have to answer stupid questions to gain more.
So you play 20 questions, and then you roll 1 to 5 dice, 6 if you want to become evil, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's
I,
actually
I,
pretty neat that we don't have to read the rest of the 220 fucking pages of this.
let's see. Oh, Defying Death, page 54.
Huzzah! Death! Sweet release of death.
We'll have to, let's see. Sometimes it's obvious when death is inescapable. So, let's see. On a 6, you defy death. On a 4 to 5, you barely manage to cheat death. On a 1 through 3, it doesn't kill you, you just become evil. You take your shadow self.
Ah! Ha, 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 ha. You can't even die! You can't even die if they call you a dummy. You just fucking.
Well, although you can't even die if you get hit with that giant rolling ball.
You get hit by the giant rolling ball, you pick the wrong grail, you're aging into dust, you fucking get your soul yanked out by the angel of death hidden in the Ark of the Covenant, your heart was ripped out and fucking thrown to sacrifice to Kali. But it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
You can never die.
You can't fucking die. What are you, fucking Deadpool? What the fuck?
Is that
No, I read closer. Basically, you're supposed to talk with the DM on whether or not, like, how lethal the scenario should be. Which basically means that you have to basically cater to the group on whether or not they die. Which means you could be the dumbest motherfucker intentionally, and if the DM is supposed to take it lightly, you're just gonna tank that shit just fine.
you just say, okay, you're not dead, you're buried alive, and
Oh,
you're evil
oh
now.
no, Dark Sun clarified. It's even worse. Even if you're in shadow form, you can just do it again. What is this fucking nonsense?
This might actually be Wraith. You can't die. I mean, you can go to oblivion, but you can't die. You're already dead.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, by the way, we have actually skipped a lot of the examples of play
Oh, who
because
gives a
just
shit?
because just like every other powered by the apocalypse pile of fucking garbage, it's all scripted. It's all fucking critical role level pre-planned, and none of this shit's real.
And I like how they have to give us the keeper and then also in parentheses their real name. Like we care about the actual lives of the people in the example of play.
You also like how the player's name is then followed by their actual character name,
Yeah, well, hold on.
which
I have
which
no.
reverses it, by the way.
Is keeper? So is this person's name in real life Navi the Reclaimer?
No, it's clearly in a fit of stupidity, they have the keeper because they have to have a special, unique, ooh woo fucking term for game master. That's the real name is Malika, and then the actual character is Naomi, who's playing the person Naomi, and the character is Navi.
Oh, that is just so
So they
confusing.
reversed it because of a fit of brain dead.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go to page 57 and catch my breath. So every time you gain a truth, you face a crisis and you don't change your result, you go to a milestone event, or you spend a map, lore, or aid to reach a place of safety.
I'm just whenever
You
I
increase
hear
your
when you
progress.
discover a truth, I'm envisioning like a really shitty version of Call of Cthulhu. Like you're going through a tomb and you read the hieroglyphs that just translates to I know you like to kiss other men or
No,
something.
it's that one meme where you're finding or like you're either finding that scroll and the scroll says something that you don't like, so you throw it away, or like the angel comes down.
Aha, we have found the scroll of truth. You're not a victim. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. The scroll reads, "You're not a victim. You're just an asshole." Yeah.
So at six marks, your exhaustion sets in and you cannot go any further. If they cannot circle back to safety, any crisis rolled cuts the campfire phase short.
This
So
is
you
just
cannot die of
Darkest Dungeon.
exhaustion. No way out. In the very likely circumstance that your team is unable to retreat from a dangerous situation, consider your options under a separated team. So again, you cannot die. You just separate.
You don't die. You don't die. You don't die.
Won't let me leave.
By the way, yes, the campfire actions are just as long, and they all have examples of fucking play. Yes, they chose to do this. Why? Fuck if I know. Look
Train
at
demand
this.
outcomes. You can share a meal, which is different from, let's say, tending a wound, in which you could just put that as recovery.
Yeah. So what does share a meal do? It's an opportunity to reconnect with each other. Basically, I think it gets rid of exhaustion.
I thought it restores 2 health.
Oh, it does? So what's the point of tending wounds? Does tending
I
wounds do
no,
more?
I was making a reference to Darkest Dungeon,
By the way,
in
everyone
which every
describes what food they're cooking. So what you could do is be like, he just pulls out a batch of marshmallows and dumps it into the stew. His eyes not fucking blinking as he intentionally shits all over your stew.
I'm eating human meat.
No, no,
You see, I'm a shadow self. My
no,
shadow self's a cannibal.
no, no, you pull out a hunk of, you pull out a ham hock. It's like, this is long pork. Slice it up, put it into the wok, start stir frying
Actually,
it.
actually no, because here's the thing.
Never
You could
explain what long pork is. Eat it.
no, you could cut a player's body off, eat it, and they're still alive.
You're no, no. The best part is you could cut them badly enough that they only lose one wound, so that then you could share a meal with the person's flesh and like some Rice Krispies that you
You've
still
de
have, which
you've
recovers
degloved
too.
you've degloved them. One wound.
And then no, no, then you cook it for the shared meal, and you gain two. Infinite health regeneration.
Yeah. Uh, you can reveal a secret. Shocking. Dramatic.
This is, the the big secret you reveal is, I don't know. I don't like fried rice.
How dare you're racist. And then finally, the investigation phase,
Here
which
we
is where
go.
you investigate.
This is the section of Call of Cthulhu that everyone likes until
There's
it
only
fucks
one
them.
thing you roll. You just roll. You connect your truth. You have a brief montage, and that ends the investigation phase.
What?
Oh wait, no. There's the moves.
What?
Reaching the tomb,
What?
seeking allies.
No.
I'm
Really? Uh, what? So just to clarify to the viewers at home, the investigation phase is literally 3 pages long.
well. No, that's the phase. Then the moves.
No, no, no. Let's go back to the example of sharing fucking food. That is 2 pages long. Actually, no, it's 3 pages long. Sharing food had more thought put into it than the fucking investigation of ancient ruins that were built by a culture who not many men have or women have seen, written in languages long considered dead, in an area long abandoned to the wilds.
Well, you got to make sure that you're eating. Can't investigate on an empty stomach.
You literally spend more time describing how you turned graham crackers and Coca-Cola into a sad soup of misery than you do discovering the lost fucking pyramid of Anunkhnhotep or whatever, a pharaoh of the fucking fourth dynasty that was only referenced in 3 spots because the guy that came after him tried to erase his records from memory or something. You
Oh, also,
spend more fucking effort trying to explain how to desalinify pork than you do describing when you found the remains of the city of Z, which actually turns out to be one of the earliest proto-city centers for the Guarani people or something like that. You put more fucking effort in describing how you make frou-frou fucking fried okra than you do uncovering an ancient Wat that was built by the Hindus before the entire area of Cambodia became more Buddhist.
let that sink in.
I don't have words. I'm only screaming inside.
You're becoming your shadow self.
I've become my horrible shadow self, which means that I oh
You now
wow,
like this game.
yeah, this game's great. It's fucking amazing. I can speak my truths. I can reveal secrets. It's gonna be great. This is a great game. This is a great game. We need to. I need to actually force everyone in the Discord, which is in the description, to fucking play this game. We're gonna do a 10-hour session of this. We are gonna do a 10-hour session of this right now.
So to represent how little time the Seekers have to investigate, each player can activate only one investigation move during the phase.
This is intrinsically so. Dark Sun. The defeat is. This is on every oppositional level the opposite of what I like in a fucking tabletop game. To me, the most beautiful aspect as a GM whenever I run a game is watching the wonder and the curiosity of my players as they explore the world that I've built for them. That to me is the parts I love the most, when they're actually involved in the things that I have created. My wonders and works are to what are to them what it would be like to actually go into a fucking tomb. I love looking at the artifacts and wreckages of old history. I love looking at urban exploration videos. I like people restoring old objects. I like that sort of shit. And to have this be on the same level as cooking fucking porridge out of goddamn quinoa, you can kind of see why I'm a bit pissed off right now. All right, let's go into the investigation moves. I'm sorry. That actually
Oh
got
no,
under my
no,
skin.
it's uh, so you can reach the tomb, seek allies, chart routes, research the artifact, or hone the truth.
Why is it always a tomb, by the way? Many of the older buildings were actually built for other purposes. Nan Madol, for example, was actually a getaway for an empire that was in the Pacific Islands, contemporary with the Tuatanga Empire.
Well, I think a tomb can
The
also be
pyramids of
considered.
Mesoamerica were not actually tombs. They were sacrificial and religious centers that were used for rituals.
I think we can also consider it a place where you store your shit. So think of it as ancient world hoarders.
Not every culture did that. In fact, quite a few actually destroyed or distributed it. Case in point, the wind funerals of Tibet, where your body was left out for the vultures to eat in the wind.
Yeah, but where they put all their stuff
They were usually donated
and put where?
among the other members of the family in the community. Occasionally, if they became particularly sacred, they might get put into what's called a stupa, which is a Buddhist temple complex that actually took over when the cultural norms of Tibet became more and more tied to Gelugpa, the Yellow Hat school.
This all sounds more fascinating than this game.
Yeah, it's almost like, but you see, the problem is I'm not speaking the truth of the actual people because I'm not actually Tibetan, so therefore everything I said was a lie.
Well, you also have to remember the truth belongs to the seekers. So while the keeper may have fascinating ideas spring to their mind and will always offer truths with intriguing details, the players don't have to figure out what the keeper believes is going on, where the final tune is, the nature of the mythic artifact, or anything else.
It's all tombs because of Tomb Raider brand Tomb Raider brand. You know, by this logic, you know it'd be great, the Tomb Raider edition where you're just robbing fucking graves in England. You're robbing Viking graves from cairns.
No, no, I was thinking you're just a modern day grave robber.
Modern day grave robber.
You're stealing stuff to give it to the academics.
But only for money.
Yeah. So this means basically no matter what you present, the seekers can the seeker's solution is the correct one.
Don't worry, I can speak for you, person from this area with the cultural norms, now that I know my truth. That temple your ancestors built was actually a sacrificial death pit that summoned a demon.
You can race to the tomb.
I'm sorry, but like
Yeah.
when you say it like that, I'm just envisioning the colonial attitude where they actually, since they have the truth, can now speak it.
You can hone the truth, which is making connections.
Seeking allies, chart routes, holy shit. More effort was put on charting routes than investigating areas of the goddamn tomb.
And then end of session phase. We
Researching
just
artifacts. Hey, this is something that's actually kind of something you'd want to do because, you might find something cool.
and you can enter the tomb, traverse the tomb,
This
decipher the
sucks.
tomb.
For a person who makes their career writing, they're not very good at actually writing things in a way that draws the attention of the reader.
Oh, here's what listening to the tomb is,
Do you just like
which
put your
is
ear on the fucking wall, nodding
no, it
solemnly?
is spending a map, lore, aid, or truth to help you.
That's shit. That
Then you discover the truth, which again, you find the final truth. You actually don't. The truth is within your grasp on a 6. You then have to make a theory.
no, here's my favorite part. Because of Powered by the Apocalypse on a 4 and 5, you're almost right, but a significant complication and impending fallout are at hand. Okay, imagine if you actually guessed completely right what the DM was actually doing. Like, let's say during the tomb investigation, you actually discovered that the actual tomb itself was a way to refocus the reincarnation energies to bring someone back from the dead, right? Like, let's say it's like a corruption of the Buddhist concept of basically trying to defy samsara or something, right? Let's say you get that correct. On a 4 or 5, the DM now has to goddamn edit the fucking ritual and purpose of the fucking building. Because you guessed it completely right, but now they have to fucking change it because you didn't roll well enough.
Well, again, you can spend a shadow point to turn that into a success.
I'm just pointing that out, though. I'm literally just pointing that out.
Now let's see. You can survive the truth.
Survival.
Let's see. The aftermath. Seekers protected the artifact. The nemesis corrupted the artifact.
Yawn.
And then an epilogue, which takes about half a session, or about 30 minutes.
This is lame. This is
It's about
fucking
telling,
lame.
creating your. I guess now we can go into the characters.
You know,
So,
things are bad when I can tell you that you can use Star Wars' West End systems or the Edge of Empire to make a far better archaeology game.
you
So
could probably use it. Actually, no, you could probably use the D20 system, considering that's just based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
literally, what you can do is you can use E20, the Essential system, Dungeons and Dragons. Any system can do this better because you would have the freedom to actually do an archaeological thing. Hell, like I said, there's a West End Indiana Jones game that you can play. It's a bit dated, but it works relatively fine. And also, for those wondering, the Star Wars concept is imagine you're getting hired by Emperor Palpatine to actually dig up Sith artifact sites.
Oh, hey, wasn't that a comic that was made by Disney?
Yes, Dr. Aphra, who originally seemed kind of interesting because of that. She was supposed to essentially be the Star Wars equivalent of Indiana Jones. Then they fucked that up. Then they fucked it up so bad they constantly rebooted the comic just to drive numbers up because dumbasses will collect issue ones no matter what. Just like how they
Uh,
kept rebooting Captain Marvel every
uh,
fucking year.
Squirrel Killer is pointing this out. This is more an example of play than game.
Yeah, because notice that's something that you probably noticed as we were skimming through. You noticed how the fucking script of the adventure was longer than how the adventure was or is supposed to work. The
Well, you
fucking
see,
script is longer than the goddamn rules.
the people playing this game kind of don't understand how to play a game.
No one
So
who
you
plays Powered by
really,
the Apocalypse knows how to play a game.
so you
And
need to be really detailed,
also, the person who wrote this mostly is a critic. I don't think they've ever actually played a game.
probably. So when you're creating a
Reminder,
tomb,
this is the slop Evil Hat's willingly able to produce, mainly because this shit gets kickstarted, so they don't have to actually give a shit about sales.
so when you're choosing your team, you have to find the team for the right play style, thematically and narratively.
So
You know,
can I
not
get
min-maxing, not balancing.
can we get a Bigfoot, a Chocho, and a fucking gray alien wearing a human skin as my team? Can we just turn it into goofy fucking X-Files monsters? Investigate how humans humaned?
Yes.
I think that would actually be a really fun game concept. You're you're fucking aliens or cryptids trying to understand how humans human because you're doing like the monster equivalent of of anthropology or primatology actually, the study of apes because humans are apes.
So, defining your character, you have your name, and of course, don't forget your pronouns, which can be she, her, he, him, they, them, z, zim, something else, no pronouns, or any combination of pronouns.
You know they have no personality or thoughts or beliefs besides the surface when the very first things they bring up are pronouns, even above looks, even
And then,
above
yeah.
personality.
Uh, oh no, personality is not a part of this.
Actually, yeah, you like that? There's no personality. It's all surface level shit. This is literally
It's
how the Acolyte was made. What would
well,
happen is
it's
Leslie Headland would stare at like random people on this TV screen and go, "I want that one," because she only cared about looks. She didn't give a shit about personality.
so you have name, pronouns, aesthetic, your core move, your playbook move, your intuition, gear, conditions, and
You
flashbacks.
like how you have video game moves that you have to fucking use?
Yep. You then get your starting bonds. Oh, and you
Not Nita. Yeah, you caught me. It's basically Promethean, but I would play it up as more Gonzo, where you're basically cryptids trying to understand humans, not to become them though. The gimmick is you're actually doing it because you're cryptid. You're the cryptid equivalent of undergrad students in primatology, and you're trying to study the boring normie ape because you yourself have either super science or magic powers.
it's-
So how do these boring weird animals that are as smart as we are live through life without getting shot at by them? Because guns are scary even to you.
so now you have the different teams. So you can be Raiders of the New Age, which is to
Okay.
rebuild your Raider culture from however bigoted and horrible it was before.
By the way,
Content warning.
artifact economies. So basically, these idiots don't realize that one of the biggest market for bored rich people, besides getting shitty art that's a scam, is just stuff that was stolen from museums or from dig sites. Like I'm not kidding. When Iraq was invaded, several thousand artifacts went missing, and while a good chunk of them were eventually recovered, a lot of them are almost certainly still in private collections by multimillionaires and billionaires. So low-key, you're literally a puppet of the rich man if you do this one.
I mean, I will say, at least in that case, it's not destroyed.
Not necessarily, because this is also the same type of people that would take a mummy and peel
Oh
the
yeah,
flesh
eat it,
off and fucking eat it or smoke it.
and somehow not realize that they're cannibals.
No, no, they don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit.
So,
So
well,
that's Raiders
content
of the New Age.
warnings.
You're basically
Well,
puppets of the multi-billionaires.
you have to content warnings. Vigilantism, exploitation of underrepresented or marginalized communities, and cultural erasure.
Uh,
Then guardians of our community.
all right.
So you're trying to defend against the big evil people. Content warnings, sanctioned military violence, war profiteering, mass murder, genocide. Why
That's
are those
more.
content? Those aren't content warnings. Those are advertisements.
That's advertisements, and on top of that, this is actually a little bit dated. It's interesting because they're kind of coming at it from like the post-colonial point of view, but like it never evolved from the 70s. And even then, that still
What?
was kind of dated because if you think about it, the worst excesses of colonialism happened back during the colonial times, most damningly in the 19th century and early 20th.
What do you mean? What do you mean that things have evolved? We should follow what exactly has been taught to us according to a bunch of academics living in the Western world in the 60s and the 70s. They
particularly
clearly have the correct
particularly
understanding.
westernized colonials, who, by the way, remember the guy who wrote this was an African, who also said that you should reject the westernized elite. So he's a westernized elite, so disregard anything that guy wrote. And then also a guy who tried to justify the Arabian imperialism because, oh no, he's a tribalist who also is Arabian and couldn't admit the faults of his own people, but demands that other people fucking do.
Or the French intellectuals who decided to advocate for lowering the age of consent,
Yeah,
which
they
they
did
did.
that.
Because, again, power and truth is malleable.
Remember, I forget if it was Spain or France that Roman Polanski escaped to. That should explain a lot.
So the third one is breakers of the conspiracy. These are your conspiracy theorists, which content warnings, fanaticism, hyper-religiosity, and cultism.
Conspiracies aren't necessarily religious; they're just delusional. Fanaticism is spot on. Cultism might also be spot on with.
So, like, why? And I do like with the teams, they advertise who wrote this.
So, you can
Why does raider culture need to change? Uh, which
choose one.
again, yeah, um,
These suck.
aesthetic, yeah, their code of deeds. Um,
You know, the best part is I kind of think that this might actually be somewhat inspired by the games, but I don't know what any of this is. Or if it
I-
might not even, it might just be made up horse shit.
they give different nemesis, which I think they're gonna add in later,
Yeah, they are.
like guardians of community. Um,
By the way, I kind of hate that you don't even have the ability except for the last option to make your own nemesis. You have to fucking select. Oh, I hate this. I hate that.
breakers of the conspiracy.
This sucks.
Then your truth seekers. So you have
Well,
the
no,
scholar.
let's very quickly, because Guardians of our Community also, if you really think about it, is kind of a. If you think about it, if you're trying to explain the indigenous society, you're kind of being a colonialist yourself, if you think about it.
I'm imagining you roleplay as not Zapatista treasure hunters.
That could be really fun, actually. No, you don't understand. That actually sounds fun.
Actually, yeah. And you know what? That'd be a learning experience for understanding
And,
their
and you know what your nemesis
anarchist
can
system
be?
of life.
Your nemesis can be not he's not even interested in the artifacts. He actually just wants to bulldoze several Mayan ruins for the Yucatan Railroad Initiative. It's an industrialist. He's not even interested in the artifacts. Because there was a lot of protests actually when Mexico was doing its Yucatan infrastructure protocol, because thousands of artifacts were actually lost or destroyed because of that.
Yeah, that actually would be something thematic.
Who'd have
And it,
who'd have thought that if you actually learn about a culture, you actually can learn to respect them just as greatly as if you just, I don't know.
oh, hold on. So one of the nemesis for the Guardians community is Michel Mad Dog Roberge. Is that? I feel it's a reference to like a famous mercenary.
Almost certainly. Also, another nemesis is literally a super guru, like a fucking social media parasite.
Isuf Lokanet,
Terrible name, by the way.
a group that is a dark reflection of your community.
So what you're saying is the other tribe that has differing cultural beliefs than ours,
Well,
but
no, and I'm thinking
but are from the same origin.
it is the secret society of Jews as written in the protocols of the elders of Zion. Remember, it's their truth.
I'm just now envisioning like everyone's playing as guardians of the community. We're all from a kibbutz of Sephardim, and you
And
have
they
to
are,
you have to worry about the Ashkenazic conspiracy to to hijack the narrative of the Judaic people. No, no,
yeah.
actually, what's even funnier? No, you're a bunch of no. Here's the comedy. You're actually natives of Israel, or at the very least, you served many years in a kibbutz. You go to New York and you run into the black Israelites.
I was thinking the Black Israelites or the Tunnel Jews.
Either or.
And in this
Either
case,
or.
it's not just Orthodox Jews. It's literally Jews living in the tunnels. They've been living there for so long,
I
and
mean,
they're
there are some
hungry.
weird supernatural things, so I'm just now envisioning, like, if you've seen the film The Descent, like, completely albino, gangly, completely albino, gangly,
Carni
carnivorous,
car carnivorous rabbi,
yeah. Like, no, it's like an entire. They even have enough
a
for a head
minion.
count. Yeah, for a minion. So it's like actually several communities. They escaped into the tunnels after a pogrom in 13th century France or something. So you have to deal with the albino tunnel Jews of the French catacombs.
They've somehow still been able to keep Shabbat despite not having any reference to the sun.
They instinctively know it because they can feel the sun in their minds. It is their gift. It is their gift by Adonai. Because remember, supernatural stuff is a thing, so they actually might have some supernatural abilities.
The French albino tunnel Jews.
Who have a malfunctioning golem, just one though.
It's on loan.
No, they built no. It's on loan from their ancestors.
No, no, it's on loan from the flying Polish Jews.
The flying. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if the writer was an anti-Zionist, aka
Oh, probably,
pro-Palestinian.
probably. So going on to the truth seekers themselves, which have content warnings as well, because
Well, no, no,
you
no,
know
because
when
there's the nemesis for the conspiracy guys. There's Storm, a secret tactical organization of enhanced soldiers dedicated to reclaiming ancient assets. So your enemies are Delta Green. That actually would be a kind of fun idea, where you're just a team of grave robbers, and you stumble into a Delta Green operation to essentially wipe the tomb.
uh,
Guinevere Khan. Who the fuck writes these names?
the
These are
fuck was
terrible. These are dog water.
the Blood Wolves? That's a Space Marine chapter.
It is.
They just sound, no, it's I don't think it is, but that sounds like a Space Marine chapter.
The Iron Fletchers also sounds really stupid.
Yeah,
It's like they wanted to use the term Pinkertons, but they didn't understand that.
it was named after a guy.
Yeah. If I had to have a conspiracy kind of setup for it, no, no, like, come on. I can come up with better ideas than this in my sleep. I did literally come up with better ideas of this in my sleep. I came up with an entire group of essentially not Amalekites that you guys fought in the Hunter campaign once.
Yeah,
All right, the Truth Seekers.
Pagan saying I'm not looking on the Tomb Raider wiki, not seeing any of those nemesis.
I don't think they're real. I think they were made by the book, but like the
Yeah.
concept of raiders.
Here, so here's the thing with the truth seekers. They all have content warnings. Despite the fact that you are role playing and therefore have a different interpretation of what your character is.
Yeah,
Like the Reclaimer is pledged to preserve the truths of their people, which means systemic oppression of a people or culture, racism, bigotry, racial violence, discrimination, cultural erasure, colonization, imperialism.
the content warnings are like the worst thing this book fucking has. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like, and also, weren't content warnings supposed to be for people who, you know, are going to be seeing something that might be mentally triggering for them?
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can do some pretty horrible things, like let's say for a Tomb Raider scenario, you run into like you're going on an expedition to, I don't know, Sahel, Africa, around Cameroon or something, and you run into an African warlord who's essentially keeping a tribe under lock and key to essentially make weapons in the temple complex or something, because there are some pretty brutal things you can do if you think about it.
Wait, that's what I was pointing out. The Blood Wolves are an actual. Oh my, they are.
They are an actual war
They're an
band.
actual Chaos Warband by Svein Wolfbad,
So straight up, you
who
can legitimately
who is
fight
a
chaos worshippers, which is pretty
who
great.
is a who is a space wolf. They worship corn.
That's pretty great. You can fight actual fucking chaos cultists in this game. You gotta fight a 9 foot tall, roided out wolf man. It's gonna be great. So yeah, each
And
of them have their
all
warning. I also, for scholar, systematic abuse in academic settings, historical revisionisms, says the person who's part of a cultural vandalist movement to turn everything in Africa black, almost certainly. Yeah, like
what do you mean? Africa is
it's not just Egypt. They do the same shit with Carthage, by the way.
because clearly this is where black people are from, so only black people can exist here.
By the way, this came from the point of view of a. If you're wondering where this garbage comes from, it's from 19th century African studies thinkers, because originally, you know, African Americans had no fucking clue of their origins because they were slaves brought over from a boat and a couple generations disconnected from that, you know?
Or not just a couple,
Several dozen
m-
generations at some.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But because of that, they didn't have a fucking clue. So you know what they tried to do? They tried to understand their origins. And guess what? There wasn't a lot of data on anything south of the Nile. Anything south of the Nile or the Sahara. So they kind of had the best they could with what they did. And honestly, it's not like the Black Israelites. You want to know where they came from? Then remember the concept of Bathsheba when she met with Solomon. She came from southern Africa, and then there's like the Axumites because Ethiopia was of minor interest. They thought, hey, maybe that's where we came from. Like maybe more of the continent was Jewish originally, because Solomon was such a cool king that people from around the world, from around the
mhm.
world, the Near East, came to visit him for his wisdom.
And don't forget,
And she had a son with him.
black people were first in the Americas because
That's
where they're
another that's
Moorish,
another
they're
example.
Moorish Americans.
That's another example that was cooked up because of the Seminole, if I recall, because the Seminole would actually adopt slaves that escaped from their masters in their tribe. Not even
But
kidding. Seminole Indians did that.
servant, if you want to play as a colonial, you can't. Remember, this is a game that is explicitly anti-colonial or anti-imperialist.
Hunters straight up, yeah. Murder, vigilantism, PTSD, kidnapping, grooming. Wait, why? Grooming? Why? What? No. What? No. No.
Oh, so one of their gear items is Discord.
No. 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 No.
Hey, I was a employee at Mr. Beast. I was once a Hollywood executive. The crafter, potential drug abuse or perpetuated harm through technology.
Oh, are we actually dealing with a person who actually believes in internet addiction, which is a thing?
No, I think they're just saying technology can be used for bad things. Be aware of that.
Also, one
The
of the classes is the Changed, which literally is the abomination from Darkest Dungeon.
You're touched by a soul artifact, a direct connection with the supernatural,
You're an occultist who actually has magical powers.
and the legacy. Oh, yeah, they have the intergenerational trauma.
Yep. Also, straight up, these are. I think these are the basic classes empowered by the apocalypse, but refluffed because I remember some of this shit being in Thirsty Sword Lesbians as well. Like
Yeah, I
Legacy
like
legitimately was one of the victim classes in
I
the.
like I like how they recommend, play the scholar if you're interested in being both teacher and student, meaning that none of the others can be that.
Yeah, I think that's really stupid.
Also, with the disclaimer, spontaneous in creating details about their traditions, culture, and people. Oh, so I just get to make shit up about historical cultures.
Wait, so I can play Pavel Chekhov? It was Russia who invented who invented this. You're just playing. You're just playing Chekhov.
Wait, are you sure that's not Chekhov and that's not the current Russian government?
Not even kidding. That's an actual running gag in the original Star Trek series. Is Chekhov often would claim that Russia invented something.
Uh,
It wasn't like a complete running gag
Uh,
like all the time, but he did it enough times that it became a meme with him.
Actually, I do realize that. So can the Reclaimer be Vladimir Putin? I mean, think about it. It fits all the content warnings: savior complex, systemic oppression, racism, bigotry, racial violence, discrimination,
Yes, he could
culture
be
racial.
statted as a reclaimer.
This.
Also, yeah, legacy equals white guilt because fuck you. Fuck you, Whitey. Oh, you mean the horrible things other ethnicities have done? No, no, you did way worse. You did way worse. Feel bad so that I can exploit you. Like the vulnerable narcissist that I am, wallowing on the ground.
It literally reminds me of a time I was at school and I did ask somebody. They were going on about this thing of like, well, my family came here in like the early 1900s, so do I bear any guilt for slavery? And they said yes, because you're white. Like I never profited off of any of this.
But by the way, it gets even more brain damaged if you're from an ethnicity that was typically treated like shit. You know,
Oh, you mean like
like you're,
a Jew?
or if you were Catholic for the longest time. Irishmen, for example, were treated pretty shittily. Slavs even more so. There's a reason. There's a reason the term Polak became a slur for idiot. That was a term for West Slavic peoples like Polish because they didn't understand English too good.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, they heard Polak and they thought us, and they didn't get it until very later.
Yeah.
Polish joke.
So here's all the core moves. By the way, these are placeholder assets. They haven't gotten AI to generate the characters for them because I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised if they did AI generated characters.
no, knowing the political stance, no, they're going to use
You
actual
say that,
artists.
but Wizards of the Coast continuously has gotten shellacked for using AI generated art.
Yeah, but that's a corporation that is using politics and sort of the culture as a facade. These are actual true believers.
Evil Hat Productions is also a corporation who, by this logic, should also be strung up and shot in the revolution.
Well, yeah, it's hoarding capital.
By the way, your core video game move. You have to pick your one video game move. And this is
Are
what
you
they
a
do.
are you a professor, which is somehow not different from a historian? As it says, you understand that history is written by the powerful. You are dedicated to empowering as many voices to write their own history.
So,
There we go.
yeah.
There we go.
So here's the funniest thing that okay, so the historian. You understand that history is written by the powerful. It's not written by the powerful. Do you want to know what one of the first do you want to know what one of the weirdest things we uncovered was? A fucking Karen complaint letter about a goddamn merchant stiffing them on the number of bronze ingots that they sold or something. One of the earliest forms of written language we have is a Karen bitching about not getting enough fucking metal.
Well, no, no. Ian Nasser was he the one that wasn't giving the proper?
Yeah, it was a complaint against Yenisser.
Well, and you think about it, because here's the thing: because he wanted records for accounting.
There's also like there's
But
also
no,
random
yeah,
functionaries in the Egyptian empire in the Egyptian, kingdom that did that too.
I can already see the leftist reasoning for that. It's because of capital. You see, the economics was valued as a written form.
One of the more interesting forms of preserved historical artifacts that we have is a dude who wrote disgustingly sexual letters to his wife. He was like some
What?
middling poet, and one of his most famous things is about how he'd fuck the farts out of her. He went into vivid detail about this. This
I
is
need
just
to
some
read.
random guy. We have
Uh,
Roman graffiti that's like Julius was here, preserved in Pompeii that we documented. We found fragmentary evidence of action figures for gladiators. We found a dude just like who's famous for masturbating as he got killed by pyroclastic flows in Pompeii. It's not just written by the powerful. It's written by people who had access to Word and who are able to
Ab-
keep that shit preserved.
but you see, those are the powerful people, because back in the 5000s, they should have known that they should teach everybody language and writing, even though they didn't have the resources to do so.
It's also taught by those whose cultures endured. For example, in West Africa, they didn't have a strong example of writing beyond Arabic, but you know what they also had a history of? Griots, who were bards that were taught to basically memorize all of the sagas and stories of their people.
So, but then there's also the discredited. Your reputation as an academic lies in tatters. The world tore down the truth you paid for in tears and sacrifice. What will it take to prove that you were right? That yes, the Holocaust didn't happen.
Your academic. No. You stare frantically. Plate tectonics is bullshit. The Earth expanded. Which, by the way, actually was a scientific theory. Basically, before we figured out the basics of continental drift and plate tectonics, we didn't really know how, because we knew that the continents were moving, but we didn't know why. And an early idea was, well, maybe water flow is causing the continents to basically break apart a bit. Like the Earth kind of expanded a bit, and it sounded dumb, but also like we didn't have any evidence to say it wasn't. It wasn't until we figured out, someone was like, "Hey, what if we were just like floating around?" That it got removed as the main idea.
So, uh, the
Everyone
playbook.
thinks that the Earth is a sphere or flat. I'll show you the world is a cube. Cube
So,
planet.
the playbook moves. That doesn't belong to you.
You just stole that from Indiana Jones, you fucker.
This should work in theory. Is it playing crazy enough that it just might work?
Yeah.
The seeds of truth. Are you asking the locals to tell you a version of the legend?
This
Oh,
sucks.
you have your own flashbacks. Oh, and here's your shadow bargain. Change one of your year to weapon made of forbidden knowledge.
That's stupid.
Um, through actions or a cruel's fate, you no longer believe in the truth. Oh no, you can kill your character. You can't. Through your actions or cruel, you no longer believe in the truth. Retire this character and make a new one. So, this Holocaust denier professor is somehow exploring ancient ruins. He breaks down finally after having his legs crushed by a giant mallet. And he just realizes, no, wait a minute, it entirely does make sense. And just dies.
Well, no, you don't die. You
Oh yeah, no,
retire.
he retired. So he just gets up and becomes uh, an advocate for the what would be the ADL.
So
I used to be a Nazi, but after having my legs crushed, I finally realized that yes, 6 million Jews can die in a Holocaust.
So here's the other thing that I think is really stupid, because this is how you're supposed to forcibly retire the character. What's to prevent them from just, you know, being drawn back in anyway?
Well, you see, they no longer believe in the truth.
But they have another truth that they picked up.
So
So even by their own logic, since there's no mechanisms to actually fucking kill a character, you can bully the GM into bringing them back with a different set of truth. This is fucking stupid.
the same guy comes back. Wait a minute, the Native Americans weren't killed by disease.
No. What happens is he got rid of that truth, but he comes back though saying, "I've come to a new conclusion, and that is that the original ancestries of all of Europe were the Israelites." He becomes a Jewish supremacist now.
A Semitic supremacist.
Yeah.
And let's see the next one, the Hunter.
This is nice nice page break. No need.
Yeah. Your core move is you're a predator, you
Well,
are a weapon, or you're a
I
protector.
don't like the design of this character.
It's like gender swapped Rambo.
No, because look at the shoulders to waist ratio.
Well, they needed to make her muscly.
They don't know how to make muscle women though. This isn't
Yeah.
how you do. Unless unless the truth that was uncovered in earlier expeditions was the true aspect of herself. AKA to quote Austin Powers, "That's a man, baby."
So with the core move, I like the weapon one. Are you shedding your human skin?
Your human skin.
And then you actually shed your skin and become a robot.
I'm
Yes, it
just,
says choose one: covert military group, secret laboratory, or forbidden ritual of sacrifice.
what the fuck?
Congratulations, you're playing Deviant, the Renegade.
What the actual fuck? Because low key, I know that Tomb Raider has a lot of weird ass shit like this, but I thought this was supposed to be for the other character, you know, the one that actually got touched by the Cthulhu artifact. What the
The
actual fuck?
playbook, the hunt in duet. I wanted to see the shadow bargain. Just see the ultimate failure state, which is
You
uh,
somehow become the hunted. I don't know why, and I don't know how.
you finally shed your human skin and you realize, yes, now that you are a robot, you rust
That would have been better.
and you're in a fucking jungle.
My guess is for Shadow Bargain, you killed so many people or did so many cruel acts that you're now under arrest. But here's the problem: if you're in areas filled with tombs, you know how easy it is to just make people disappear and vanish. Like there's a reason they're called secondary dumping sites. Holy shit!
Let's see. Then the next one is the companion, and you can either be devoted, a
I vote this
mentor.
character most likely to be outed as a sexual predator. No offense. It's just something about
Looks
the man bun.
that's kind of male feminist, but he's too muscular to be a male feminist.
True. Also for progressivism, I guess he's Maori, since those are some Maori
Yeah.
style tattooing.
Let's see. What's his shadow bargain? Through your actions or cruelties to fate, you have given up on everyone else and yourself.
Okay, so this guy just like lies down. Let me die, but because of how this reality works, he can't die. No
I
matter
just
what he
give up.
does, he can't die.
I don't care about anyone anymore. He
He's
beca-
floating in lava. He's just a skeleton. I don't care.
he
I
just
don't
turns into
care.
Eeyore.
He's literally crushed into a million pieces. He literally is gurgling on his own blood. Don't care. Don't care.
Oh, and then we have next up the crafter, which is the one with the mechanical legs that would be inappropriate in a non-flat surface.
Yep. Also, I'm gonna be honest. Those legs are they're a pain in the ass to walk with. You literally are only doing it to run. Also, overly complicated steel compound bow.
Uh,
Why didn't you just make a fucking slam start shotgun or something?
the core move. From
Yeah,
a young age, he
actually,
dazzled.
you like the weird gun fear where none of them have fucking firearms?
You're right.
Ew, guns are bad. You rob
Well,
graves.
I will actually be honest. Probably having a gun in a remote jungle setting where you can't find ammunition is probably not the best thing.
And having arrows that are special, and having to design your own arrows specially fitted for a fucking compound wheelie boy crossbow like that fucking thing is.
Well, you're the crafter. You can craft stuff. See, let me try. No, I made broken arrows instead. I rolled a 4
Yep. Also, you like how it's one of those complicated fucking drawstring pieces of shit?
because it's action.
Pope.
But with the prodigy, so you have a startling discovery that you made in your youth.
Oh, actually,
Sh-
another one on the box. Person of color, STEM candidate. Just keep that in
Yep.
mind.
So you have a possible solution to a global problem.
So how much? So do you think the $30,000 that Evil Hat spent to acquire the license and voiced it over? Do you think that was covered by the DEI? Do you think that was covered
Uh,
by BlackRock?
no. Oh dear God, no. Um, so with the project though, as a possible solution to a global problem, I'm just thinking it's some radical Marxist that's just like, what if we killed all the farmers?
The movie Bob approach.
No, 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 no. Because remember, some farmers can be progressive. This guy's just saying literally, do make food, kill yourself.
Through your actions that were a cruel twist of fate, you have lost the spark of creation.
I
This I
I
like how
I no
they're
longer
trying
want to
to.
I no longer want to find new ways to eliminate the agricultural producing class. Eh,
Oh yeah, the Riona porn trilogy. I forgot that they kept giving Lara a bow because they're too pussy to give her guns. Because originally she just started blasting. She was known for using twin pistols akimbo.
let's see the next one.
By the way, even though the games were liked initially, from what I recall, I think it's only the first one that was really liked, and the other ones were just seen as dog water, like completely forgettable. I
I
know
just don't
no
remember
one
them
fucking
being
thinks
advertised as
about them though.
much. So the changed, which is that the artifact from Resident Evil 5? The one that turns you evil?
So okay, the problem I had with I made a joke about this character in the initial where it's a Rule 63 Bishonen. I didn't expect you to actually take the character from Resident Evil Survivor 2 where you're on the goddamn boat. He was a French terrorist called Duval who legitimately had gender dysmorphia and used the T virus while splicing with G antibodies to turn himself into a transsexual tyrant, like a
Wait,
female
wait, what?
tyrant. Yeah, Francois Duval basically ran a cult of personality around himself, had his
When was
operatives
this?
hijack a boat, and he injected the virus into himself to become a female tyrant. That literally
What?
just looks like the character.
When was this game made?
90s, but it's in Japan, so who gives a shit? The Japanese
Ah,
take a dim view on this sort of stuff.
cause just
So when I think of changed and the glowing artifact, I'm just thinking, is that a necklace? This is this a necklace of gender bending like the original cursed artifact from D&D?
let's see. You can be enlightened, awakened, or ruined, which you get changes. A temporary change to your body, beautiful, otherworldly, and outside your control.
I was right. I was fucking right.
And let's see shadow bargain. The soul artifact consumes you, leaving nothing behind.
Hey, an actual. This is the only character that can die. This is the only character
No, no,
that can
no, no, no,
find the
no, no,
sweet
no.
release of death.
It consumes you. That does not mean you die. Because let's give an example. The thing doesn't kill you; it just takes you over.
Oh, that's even better. Because that means this is the only character whose body can't physically manifest anymore, unlike the other ones we went through. Meaning, this is the only character you can't play again if you fall completely.
Well, what if it discovers a truth?
Oh,
What?
what if it possesses someone else so you come back in a
Well,
new
no.
body?
Yeah. Or the changed decides, you know what? I'm going to be a scholar now. What was that about the Tartarians?
Jesus wept.
Just some demon is now like becoming an X poster. X as in fortune, not Twitter.
So
Uh,
another thing about the changed is I think this was written from the point of view of a mild fetish just because of the whole lost consent and forcible transformation. Kind of gives me that energy. This
uh,
is the
yeah.
worst.
Let's see. The next one up is Legacy.
I like how they couldn't be arsed to create an art asset for this character.
You have the heir.
It's
You've
gonna
been
be
wrong
generic white person, probably
or
woman
haunted.
because men are verboten.
Let's see, your shadow self. Your legacy crumbles into dust.
Okay.
Yeah, the legacy is challenged to use their privilege to help others, but they must face the ramifications of such power. So, with
Wouldn't
great,
it be
what,
that
what?
you fall into your legacy's shadow, like legitimately you can't escape the darkness that your family caused?
Actually, that's the first shadow thing, but
That's your
um,
legacy crumbles to the person writing this is legitimately brain dead.
so with great power comes great responsibility, and you should be ashamed for that.
By the way, fun fact, in many takes on the character, Peter Parker actually is both Jewish and Catholic, if I recall. Because
How
his uncle, because he was raised by Uncle Ben, who was Jewish, if I recall.
the hell was his last name then? Bernanke?
Parker. Not Parker. It was something else. Yeah, it was Parker.
Wait, was his uncle on the father side or the mother side?
Father side. So technically, he's not via blood, but he was raised in the culture that he was raised in the culture essentially.
Just imagining how Spider-Man with a kippa.
But no, legitimately, I would say that your character basically falls to the same vices and failures as the legacy, and that's why you can't play them anymore because they're too busy basically being.
You,
The
you be,
best example I would give is the Lovecraft story "Rats in the Walls," with the main character Delapore basically falling to his family's sin of eating people.
well, I was gonna say you become uh, Black Suit Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3.
I'm just envisioning him dancing down the stairs. He also just dancing down the stairs alongside the Joker.
Yep. So the next one up is the Reclaimer, and you could be a traditionalist. You come from
Cool.
a people whose history and life were almost completely
Wait a
eradicated by
minute.
systematic oppression.
I just noticed something with the placeholder art.
It's Lara Croft.
Well, it's not just Laura Croft, but let me go back to the first example because if it's what I think it is, okay. For a minute there, I thought, are they doing something involving because the legacy was pale compared to the
No, I think
reclaimer's darker, but
it's
then I
just the
looked
color.
back up and the scholar was green, so
Yeah. So
it might be the
you
base
have
color for the costume then.
you've made it your mission to preserve what little tradition is left and reignite history. What tradition must you reclaim? Stolen or corrupted knowledge
Oh,
and
what
eradicated
tradition? Oh,
bloodline.
well, you see, I'm from the Kikuyu people of Kenya. I want to reinstate female genital mutilation.
It's our truth, damn it.
I'm not even kidding. That's a big problem among the Protestants in Kenya.
Uh,
Gen-
but you can also be a rebel. So you love your people and your heritage, but the only way forward is to set aside traditions created by your oppressors to control you. You know, like let's see, like um, education, respecting elders.
Not eating the flesh of the dead like like this tribe in Papua New Guinea that suffers from kuru. Kuru being a prion disease that affects you if you consume the flesh of the dead. Basically, it causes a sort of insanity and senility before you
Isn't the
die
reason they do that
horribly.
is to like connect to their ancestors?
That's the reason. It's basically a funerary. They don't eat you while alive. It's a funerary
Yeah, yeah.
tradition, which is very much more common. The Guarani also used to practice that, as well as the Tupi.
I mean, I would just go for the heart then.
That also was a common aspect too, actually.
That way, then you can get their memories and their power.
So legitimately, that could be an example of rebel where it's like, I want to be able to eat the flesh of the dead.
Yeah.
Or again, Delapore, where you want to make cannibalism great again.
Are you rebelling against tradition? Yes, I'm refusing to you know, not go to school, refusing to not take drugs, and refusing to not destroy my life.
Also, I like how the warden Loki is basically just, yeah, your people are like Wakanda.
Choose one. Acquire what they need to remain hidden. Help them reintegrate into modern society. Destroy an ancient enemy before they eradicate your people.
So in this case, you play the tunnel dwelling cannibalistic French rabbi.
The absurdity of that is just so hilarious.
No, no. In in,
Oh,
in in fairness, they turned to cannibalism and rat eating because that's the only options they had in the tunnels. And to sustain yourself, usually rabbinical arguments are you can usually break that code if it's to
yep.
survive.
But then if they're really following it, someone just gives them a bunch of bread, and it's like, shit, we
No, no,
cannot eat
they give
people
them their
anymore.
bread and they actually no, no. Here's the twist: they actually thank you and they try to stop eating the flesh. They have to eat. They have to eat flesh, so you just give them deli ham. Not deli ham. That's fucking sorry, not kosher. You give them chicken. Sorry, I had a brain fart, man.
That's fine. Uh, so one of the playbook moves, we tell our own stories. For many years, others have told your stories and rewritten your history. You know how important it is to be the authors of your experience.
Hey, hey,
Fuck the people that have recorded our history. We know the truth.
hey, you know that bullshit about the Wright brothers being the ones that invent flying? I can tell you that didn't fucking happen. You know who did it? You know who invented it? Akhenaten. Akhenaten and Elijah. Elijah was able to fly in that big ass chariot. You know who invented that? We did. Who were we? Black Israelites. Kemet. Akhenaten, he used the solar
Right.
disk to fly. We invented flying. You fucking stole it from us, Whitey. That's an actual move, and you could actually do this in this game by the logic that this game has.
And let's see. The shadow self. You have lost the desire to reclaim hope for your people. I
Is
don't want to
is
be a black Hebrew Israelite anymore.
No, isn't this basically just the plot arc of every miserable old legacy character in IP, like in every film? Like Luke Skywalker let the Jedi die.
Yeah.
This is literally just you're the
I
old man character now.
I killed I killed my nephew because he turned to the dark side. Never mind the fact that I forgave a man who murdered children
Dozens of
and it
children.
murdered children, blew up my sister's planet, and threatened to kill all of my friends and turn my only other living relative to the dark side.
Oh,
I
also don't
forgive him.
forget randomly murdering people with force potential or trying to induct them into a secret society of assassins so he could overturn his master, and then killing
And
them when they got caught or to save himself.
I have the lore of the Jedi, which shows that the Jedi have fucked up consistently, been wiped out, and then returned. Now it's time for them to end.
This is the greatest pile of slop I've ever read.
Yeah,
Oh god, the Keeper of the Truth. That's the name for the fucking GM. Just
because they're the seekers of the truth.
god damn, can someone just remove my organs and put them in canopic jars right now? I don't mind if I'm not anesthetized. I don't want to
One
be here no more.
page 170, bullet point 2. Present each challenge like a video game.
Die in a fire. Die in a fucking fire, you son of a bitch. Just choke on it. Oh god. They said it. They said the thing. They said the thing. They went completely mask off. They showed why Powered by the Apocalypse is crap. Oh, but Tomb Raider started as a video game. Yeah, and you're ignoring the parts of the game because you don't like that Eidos made her a cheeky British cunt who used guns to shoot Bigfoot. You fucking miserable cretins.
See, reveal a hidden world of the strange and the supernatural.
How? Your adventure system only has 2 pages for that compared to the 3 for cooking.
Cursed
You
relics, monsters.
miserable fucking frauds.
Well, I think for these people, the strange and supernatural world is knowing how to cook your own food.
The strange and supernatural world is not living in West Coast California, the cultist coast. God damn.
Describe what happens beyond what the truth seekers can see. Go beyond the supernatural.
But that's not the point if they don't know it. I'm like the whole thing about this shit is mystery.
You can
They
wait, no,
emphasize
wait.
that.
They say you can cut away from the Seekers to reveal in montages what their nemesis is up to. So congratulations, you have revealed what is going on behind the
No.
scenes to the player characters and expecting them not to use that information to their own advantage.
No, you only do that if they succeed in investigating what they're fucking.
Don't worry about not having the answers.
Not
You are
only
not
can you.
expected to have all the answers to those questions.
Don't
Well, you
worry,
are the
the
keeper
game
of
will
truth.
tell you. Because remember,
No,
when
no,
you.
no, no. No, no, no. You are not the arbiter of the collaborative story and its meaning.
Choke! Choke on it! Oh, God. By the way, that's powered by the apocalypse for you. Oh, oh, God, I forgot how bad this is.
Um,
I was actually worried this would be so painfully dull that I would have just skipped like halfway through to Indiana Jones by now. I'm so glad it's not. This is
wait,
actually interestingly shit.
it's okay to get stuck while thinking on the fly. You can ask for a short pause, or even ask the rest of the players for input.
You
You
wouldn't
can even
have that
ask.
problem if you were playing any other fucking system, you fucking smooth-brained, frictionless fucking examples of one-celled organisms.
Ask them questions like, "What's the worst thing your nemesis could say to you right now?" Or what does your potential ally ask from you to prove your worth?
I'm just
As
envisioning one of
little as
these fucking
possible.
baby brains. They say that, and the nemesis just bluntly looks at them and says, says something like, "Not all, not all women are women," or something, or some the turf, the turf shit. I don't know what it's called. Oh God.
Everyone's angry with me because I'm making this the subject of the stream. You just got to enjoy the horribleness of this. You just got to enjoy. Yeah, you got to enjoy the fact that people have spent time making this,
You gotta love that Evil Hat
and yet we can,
Productions,
and
who
yet we
has
can break it
made
apart.
bangers. No, you gotta appreciate that Evil Hat Productions, which made Thirsty Sword Lesbians. You know, the one where you play either the abuser class or the abuse victims in a lesbian relationship, going through literal slop. This is
Oh,
worse than that.
don't forget the expansion where you can play as, um, now what was the animal
I'd
again?
rather be strapped to bamboo shoots and have
Was it
them grow
leopard?
through me than read that right now.
Oh no, it was hyenas. You had to play as female hyenas, and if we all know about their biology,
If I
that's
remember right,
something.
that Splat actually talks about that too.
It does. It
Cool.
does.
Are they arrested yet for bestiality? Was the writer of that one arrested yet?
Uh, I don't know.
So,
Um,
the reason I'm actually so angry is legitimately this is taking a big fat steaming dump all over one of my favorite subjects of all time, which is the study of people, culture, history, was, and what once was, what could be, the mystery of the unknown. It's pissing on all of that. It is full on defacing it, and that is just oh my god.
so they are in a sense the actual
And
Tomb Raiders.
no, 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 because here's the thing. Tomb Raiders actually show more dignity to the artifacts they do. This is worse than because fun fact about I know a little bit because Squirrel Killer went on a tangent before stream. This is where I'm getting my info on Tomb Raider. Thanks for that, Squirrel Killer. Lara Croft was the type of girl who would use dynamite to blow up 1,000-year-old tombs just so that she could escape with a diamond and prevent Dracula from coming back from the dead. She gave almost no fucks about the historical art. She is no Indiana Jones. What she gave a shit about was stopping ghosts and Bigfoot from causing havoc and making a fuckload of money along the way. She was a cheeky cunt. And what they tried to do with the Riona fetish trilogy is tried to make her not, and tried to make her more modern day blank piece of wood protagonist lady, with a bow when she used guns.
Wait, you mean a strong, independent female protagonist?
Yeah, balsa wood. Yeah,
Yeah, you know
living balsa wood.
what they assume an action hero is.
What they think a character is, even though they don't understand anything about writing a character's personality. Hey, you want to know why? The original Alien script was so good? Because the
Because it,
characters were literally designed personality first. They were then blind casted. They literally blind casted all of them. All of them were written initially with the very vague assumption they were men, but the main focus was on their personality. And the men aspect was legitimately just, it could be thrown out any time they wanted. And it worked out because you had a
Mhm.
bunch of high quality actors and a young up and coming starlet who literally, this was her first film, fucking round out the crew. That's how you write a character. That's how you write this sort of stuff. You focus about the guts. You don't care about the looks until you get the guts right. And on top of that, it's using a system that legitimately is written by people who fucking hate DMing. Like, they fucking hate DMing. They fucking hate gaming. At this point, what you should just do is just go to F list and just fucking ERP. At this point, just do that. That's basically the only difference between that and this shit is you roll a d6 sometimes. And then go, oh no, I rolled a 3, meaning I have done accidentally set the camp on fire. Oh no.
and it's at least with an ERP, everybody will end up having fun. At
Be a
least there might actually be consequences to losing in that.
you could you could easily have consequences in a fucking gooning ERP.
Considering some of the work that people put into that kind of shit, it might actually be of quality.
You know, here's something. Hey, Derek. Look, I shat all over Chalt and I shat all over Alpha Blue, but you know what your system did that this piece of shit can't? Killed characters.
Well, no, actually,
You could
page
die in those systems.
yeah, uh,
That already
page
makes you slightly better than this one.
yeah, page 180. They do talk about death,
Oh, thank
making the
God.
game. It's supposed to be deadly. If the Seekers had an easy time, nothing interesting would happen. But being in deadly situations
You're
means that the
using
threat of
Powered by the Apocalypse. That's like the... You don't understand. Powered by the Apocalypse is actually really hard to kill people in. You want to know why? You know those campfire things? You know all those things they can do when you socially connect with people? That auto regens your health. What a
oh no,
load of steaming dog shit.
oh no, you need to go to the next page. It is fucking set it out like a fucking syllabus from school. Prep
Oh,
beforehand.
no, that's not a syllabus. This is a lesson plan. We have a lesson plan.
You're right.
We have a lesson plan. Yes.
For your first fucking
Yes.
session.
Yes.
5 to 10 minutes for player orientation.
Yes.
Make sure you give your name and pronouns.
No,
Go over.
don't forget the prep beforehand. It also has the instructional material. It has the instructional material.
If you're playing online, we recommend uploading these shared PDFs to a tabletop simulator or Miro. Fucking Miro
Yes.
board.
Yes. This is so bad. This is so bad. I love it.
5 to 10 minutes to go over the safety tools. 15 to 30 to create a team. 30 to 50 to
Bullshit.
create characters.
Bullshit. You know how hard it is to make a character? Like, you don't
Nope.
understand. You don't understand. Back in the day, when we were playing an all evil game of D&D, it took Biggie. It's been a while since he's been on here, but it took Biggie 2 hours to make a barbarian. Empowered by the Apocalypse, this shit would take longer because you got to figure out what garbage you want.
The fuck was he playing riffs?
No, D&D 3.5.
Ah, that explains it. But no, what I love is they have a 5 to 10 minutes for taking a break. You fucking take a break in your fucking first session in which you have been sitting for most likely an hour or two.
Not even an hour. I'm looking at 30 to 50 minutes to create your character class. Ay, Dios
In this
mío!
game,
Ay,
in this
Dios
game,
mío!
there's 3 fucking options. This is also an RPG. We're not getting up from our seats.
What the fuck?
What do you think?
What the fuck? This is not a first session. This is session 0. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Well, it's session 0, but it is the first session.
Oh god, this is like smoking crack, but without any of the good effects. What the fuck?
If you don't make it through all of this, that's okay. You can start your second session where you left off
Not
instead.
even.
It was
Let's go
too
through.
tough. It was too tough to make your player characters. Come back next time.
Oh god, they're doing the content thing that funnily enough D&D 5th edition did, where they made the assumption that women, gay people, and people of color, aka black people, Latinos, and so on, are too fucking stupid to do math. It's the same level of assumption. Oh
The second
god.
session, you have a
No.
5 to
Let's go
10
through.
minute.
15 minutes, 25, 55, hour and 45. This is the longest, by the way. Hour and 55, 2 hours and 15 minutes. I have short sessions, and they still last longer than this. What the actual fuck?
I think I've been in work meetings longer than that.
God, yeah.
But no, the second session, a 5 to 10 minute check-in and safety tool review.
Because you're too
You know,
fucking
yeah,
brain damaged and stupid
you
to
know,
know this.
like you're in a fucking construction environment, and you have to
I
make sure that all of your tools are.
Look, I know you're a contemptuous, dribbling smoothhead with a soft skull, so we need to make fucking sure you know how to say red flag in the event that we go too hardcore in this fucking game, where you could literally have your head sawn off with a rusty knife and live through it if you use a shadow bargain.
We've given Jimmy physical pain. I am sorry. If you turn into your shadow self, don't go after me.
Oh, this is awful. I
I have
love it.
the anatomy of the adventure, journey of the adventure, contextualizing the truth.
This is lesson
Uh,
plans. They're doing it like lesson plans, and it makes me want to just
the
fucking die.
um the final tomb, page 193. A note on reverence. Take care to hold reverence for the final tomb. Describe its nature and details with respect. Bear in mind that this hallowed place, though fictional, is still valuable and sacred to the people and region around it.
No fucking shit.
It's fictional!
No fucking shit that a tomb is fucking
The
venerated.
the Tanawudi tribe does not exist.
Look, the Kirikavali of South India used wind shrine burials where they would put their bodies up in the sky alongside their most favored belongings that were cremated, right? Okay, yeah, that's fictional. What I just invented was fictional. But at the same time, what the fuck do you expect? Like, it's a burial site.
Also, you're assuming that this means that yes, the player characters, despite wanting to play this game, are going to look at this final tomb and say, like, yes, let's exploit this. Let's exploit this indigenous
Let's run
community.
around teabagging everything. Because it's a video game, remember? It's a video game, so just, Halo 2 run around the place fucking teabagging all the corpses.
Technically, Halo 2 is going through a massive tomb. Technically, the Halo is. It's a
All of it.
monument to. It is a monument to all of our sins.
I'm just envisioning someone like opening this book. What are you? And they just hear in their head, "I am a monument to all your sins." This is amazingly terrible.
Racing Heart. So they give us adventures. I'd say, given the time, one of three. Do you want um the Philippine one, the French one, or the Chinese one?
Huh. I don't have any opinion on this whatsoever. Go with China because in my experience those are usually some of the worst.
Okay, that is the last one. That
Bap, bap,
is.
bap, bap.
Oh, I do find funny, at least with the French one, it's supposed to be an ancient, like pagan society, yet they use brother and abbot as part of their
Oh no,
organization.
that actually sounds really stupid too. But the Chinese, I think the Chinese one might be the worst.
And of course, they all these characters have pronouns.
Yeah, they
Um,
do. All right, guys, we're about to see. Oh no! The China one is probably just as bad.
Actually, the China one I haven't read that through. So page
The Cursed Dragon
236.
King. All right, here we go.
Content warnings: animal abuse, blood and gore, colonialism, corporate greed, extreme weather, kidnapping, reference drug addiction, not actual drug addiction, mind you, misogyny, and note: Chinese names are written surname
No
first.
fucking shit.
Um,
So
and Greg,
motifs: dragons, worship, open skies, freedom, kindness. Eastern dragons aren't like Western dragons, you fucking morons. They're more tied to water than air. You fucking moron.
well, it makes sense because this is taking place on a tributary of the Yangtze River.
No shit, because the Yangtze was seen. If you're wondering, one of the there's actually, if you ever wondered why the Pokemon Magikarp evolves into a giant rage dragon, it's literally based on the Chinese myth where the carp actually has to basically do a legendary challenge to ascend the waterfalls to heaven to become the dragon. It's called the Dragon's Gate.
Hmm.
It's at the headwaters of the Yangtze, if I recall.
Also, our contact is Wenru, they them, in China,
Excellent.
in fucking China.
Hey, actually, that's the thing. What happens if a culture legitimately completely rejects your garbage, like China?
Also, wait, doesn't
Are they
Chinese it
imperialists if
doesn't
they do that?
it doesn't have a gendered language. So technically, if you have so how can you have pronouns for them?
Um, because the
Well, I mean, the answer is because it's written in English, but
answer
never
is
mind.
it's written by a completely brain rotted person. Yes.
So, talking about this days-long pilgrimage for villagers from the Longkun Binjiang, which listen, I don't know Chinese.
Longchung Binjiang. Uh, Binjiang. Okay, that's a fake village.
Yeah. At least they're making it sound like it's real.
Sampan is an actual type of boat. It's very commonly used, not just in China, but also in Southeast Asia. In fact, actually, if I recall, sampans are more used in calmer rivers like the Mekong. Mekong being the waters that flush out of Vietnam.
Hmm. So
You
we
can
got
use sampangs. It's just the flat bottom boats tend to, especially during flood seasons.
we've got um some sort of legend revolving around great zodiac race, the rat, cat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon king, whatever. Fashion and characters. The people of Longkun Binjiang.
By the way, this is
Um,
kind of made up, but it's based on the Chinese zodiac, so okay, fair enough.
so we have a female religious leader, um,
That
a
can
goth.
happen. That actually
Yeah.
can happen for those wondering, because depending on, there's a variety of ancestral and folk worships. One of the more common characters in Chinese mythology is known as the Earth Mother, who is one of the more higher priority deities. It's not as high as
Uh,
some of the other ones, but she's important enough that it would make sense. In fact, actually, if you've ever heard of the White Lotus movement, the White Lotus Society, they
I think
tended to
so.
venerate her as sort of like a herald to the Maitreya, if I recall. Maitreya being a Buddhist concept of a savior figure, most common in Mahayana practices.
I was just thinking if it's a rural village in China, it's probably not that progressive.
Well, actually, it depends on because okay, we're in the Yangtze, so how far
Okay,
along
yeah,
in the
they could.
Yangtze are we? Are we just
They
near the
actually they,
coastline?
no, they said north, in the Qinghai or Shanghai province, northwest China. So no, no, fairly close.
Qinghai? Really? You're in the fucking Shandong Peninsula? Am I getting it wrong?
Right.
Let me. No. Qinghai. No, I'm wrong. Qinghai is in the west. I'm brain damaged. Qinghai is actually that's an interesting one. They're in West China. They're in We might actually be dealing with Muslims here because that's where most of the Hui people live.
It's a Muslim dragon.
We also could be dealing with Mongols actually because the Qinghai province also has a lot of Mongolian and Tibetan peoples,
And let's
if I
see.
recall. Yeah, Qinghai. I remember now.
Yeah. Let's see. The people
I was
of the
confusing it with Shandong, which is the peninsula. Uh,
then then there's what the people of the Sunhu use radical means to resist corporate influence in
uh,
China.
that's not happening. You'd get beaten to death by the
Ah,
CCP, by the CCCP.
um, let's see. Families were forced into the opium trade. Um,
In
the
modern,
people rebelled, and the government withdrew its funding, leaving the poor town to fend for itself.
okay.
Um, robust infrastructure remains. There are signs of poverty. New business cooperatives have emerged. Um, in the last few decades, corporate activities led to residents reviving old traditions and training themselves to fight.
So
Good
okay,
fucking luck.
so here's the thing. Sun Hu is in Shanghai as well, right?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Uh, yeah. Them making opium actually makes a lot of sense because it's very rugged terrain. Shanghai is pretty uninhabitable and pretty bad for farming. If you're wondering where opium was usually grown, it's usually grown in areas that can't grow anything else because it's a very hardy plant. Other areas that commonly grew opium was actually in Afghanistan. Also,
Right.
Qinghai province was pretty out there. It's in the western reaches of China on the borders of Tibet. So, Qing authority was actually pretty minimal in the area.
So we have here a martial artist, an
So,
explosives
but here's my
expert.
problem. This is in the People's Republic of China, modern
Yeah.
day People's Republic of China. This isn't happening. Also, the emphasis on spirituality and religionism. They better hope that they got their cult dedicated to the government, or they will send in soldiers of the PLA to fucking kick their ass, and
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 then we
then
have
take them to prison so their organs can be harvested. Their succulent, delicious
an,
organs.
I like this. They have Amelia Deschamps, a foreign exchange student. We've got the Gaijin.
Oh, that's nothing. Most of the characters are also fucking NBs.
Or again, maybe they're translating from the Chinese and there
Nope,
is no
they're
gender
not.
pronoun.
They're not at all.
Oh yeah, was it Chen Yam? Um, can make throwables, bombs, and other explosives. Chen's co-op has been heavily involved in supplying resistance efforts with weapons. So
Resistance efforts against the fucking government. Okay,
so they're actively working with terrorist cells.
that's it. Are you
The
sure?
the
Are you
actual
sure this isn't supposed to be in Xinjiang province?
it's
It would make a lot of sense if this was a Uyghur resistance movement.
I don't know. And
Yeah, this is a
here's our
load of shit. This is like a load of shit.
here's our corporation. The Jinshan Corporation. It is a sand mining company founded in the 1960s.
This
The
is a
60s.
load of hooey. They wouldn't
The
know.
um
This okay. So for a person that claims to not be very much against who claims to be very much against colonialism, it is violently disgusting that they fail to understand the nature of China. It's almost like that time that one communist African guy you showed me tried to say that all of France's colonial holdings worked like Africa. Which, yes and no. The basic principles you could actually apply, but the problem is the way the mechanisms worked were different. Uh,
actually I'll give the reference of when they removed John Paul Sartre's forward in like the a recent edition because of Sartre's comments about supporting Israel in the 6 Day War, despite um, the Jews violently resisting colonial occupation and establishing their own national identity, which literally fits his definition.
but because
Because
it was
of
supported by the West, no.
yeah,
Don't you know the Chinese are white? Well, the problem with that is there's no way a Jinsha Corporation could actually exist because if it couldn't have been founded in the 60s. Mao Zedong, legitimately the great helmsman, wouldn't have allowed something like that to have formed.
I mean if they could have said that this
Mao Zedong thought was fine with industrialization, and it would have made sense if it grew out from a bureau to try to it's a sand mining company. It would
Yeah.
make perfect sense if it started as a part of a cement works that during Deng Xiaoping's reform period was given to a guy like this guy because
I,
privatization began to happen under Deng. I could believe that.
I think that's what they're
No, that
trying
no,
to
it
go for.
fucking no, it fucking isn't. This is a showing of
Oh,
absolute
that's right. Yeah.
misunderstanding, because they're trying to also say that they're able to resist the CCCP. They're using the wrong Muslim ethnicity to do this with. I don't even think they know they would be Muslim. I don't even think they would know that. They could also be Buddhist hypothetically, because there are a lot of Tibetans and Mongols that live in Qinghai province as well. And there's also quite a few Han settlers as well, so you could have folksy traditions from that. But this, I think, is a testament to their fucking ignorance, which is hilarious. It's hilarious that this book that reads at anti-colonialism does this.
Let's see. It is using
It's
un,
fucking
under.
comical.
So they got banned for by the Chinese government for their damage to the river, which the Chinese government caring about environmental pollution, not during a time when a foreign delegation is there.
The resulting damage to the river in the 90s. Okay, so another problem that I have with this is they're complaining about this in the 90s. They would have been forcibly dissolved at that point because around that time they were starting to work on the Three Gorges Dam. So any damage to the river system might actually have been completely crushed.
So they eventually learned that mythical artifacts were necessary to subdue this resistance.
I I also hate, you can also tell the failed remnants of Nechaev's professional revolutionary work and leftist thoughts is still permeating because they're still doing their stupid resistance thing.
Let's see.
If
The
you really
contingent.
want to do this right, what I would probably suggest is that this is a village that is essentially comprised of what are called nail houses. What are nail houses, you ask? Well, you see, during the Reconstruction period in China, there are a variety of landholders that basically refused to sell to the government out of protest, and the government would constantly harass them and try to find ways to ruin their life and make things worse for them, up to and including actually building the structures around them, so they constantly had to deal with it. So what you could have happen is that there's a big initiative to build a new sand building works from this corporation that was made in the 1980s by this ambitious man who is handing it over to his idiot son, which is a common thing in China. They often do like to hand over responsibility to their children because it's kind of an asset. Basically, it's a landholding equivalent. So that makes sense. I would have it be that they are being requested by the company to move, and they are threatening to bring the government in. And they are trying to argue that based on the fact that they actually have a shrine that is of cultural significance to the 56 ethnic minorities of China, that this should not happen.
Hmm.
It's almost like, huh, maybe you should have gotten someone who knows a little bit about the fucking region to talk about this first.
And if I remember, their cultural consultants, I don't think any of them were Chinese.
No, the person writing this actually is ethnically Chinese, but they're probably like
Oh,
third or fourth generation.
oh. um,
It's similar to how
so
America Chavez was written by a fifth generation Puerto Rican who's lived in America basically since her great grandparents.
yeah. So apparently, though, this corporation has been using um, artifacts to biologically enhance animals to drive away those who would interfere.
Which, hey, don't get me wrong, that sounds like something you'd see in one of the PlayStation 1 period Tomb Raiders, I guess. She shot Bigfoot, so I'm kind of assuming everything. Also, I think it's funny they don't even understand what the sand mining would be used for. It would make sense if it was a concrete company, especially since if you're wondering, one of the big things that actually causes tofu drag construction in China is to cut corners. They often will use inferior quality sands or sands that are the product of, I believe, seawater. Which basically there's a difference between seawater and freshwater sand when it comes to cement mixing.
Why not?
It's
Um,
almost like if you actually knew what you were talking about, you could build on that.
oh,
Hmm.
and then we have the actual Dragon King.
Dragon King, huh?
What does he want?
By the way, no,
Moves.
no, you forget no, you forget the villain is also you have to respect their pronouns too.
Oh, it's a he. He. They.
And he wants to
Yeah.
become an emperor in communist China.
Wait, wait. Hold on. So he's an emperor. What's his other pronoun then? He can't be an empress. What's the gender neutral term for an emperor?
I mean, maybe the royal we. Maybe he adopted the royal we, and that's why there's the they part.
I guess monarch, but
Eurocentralism's likely the cause of our cultural blind spots in regard to Chinese imperialism. No, it's just straight up the concept that white guilt is so powerful that it makes people forget that other peoples have done the same shit over the years.
I would call that Eurocentrism. It's not what they think,
True,
but it is still believing that the West is
true,
essentially superior.
true. That's a good point.
Um,
Oh, by the way,
let's
the
see.
guy's a dumbass, and guess what? Woman more competent than him, and is using him as which actually, funnily enough, is falling into the Chinese stereotype of the evil harridan woman. I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. The one time China had an empress, they actually completely destroyed her character in the lore and mythos because she was partially responsible, I think, for I think it's responsible for like the disunification of China, and she failed to actually get it to hold together Wu Zetian. And because of that, there's a strong misogynistic element to Chinese culture because of the concept of the shrewish controlling wife or shrewish controlling mother, who was made worse during the Boxer Rebellion with Empress Cixi.
Huh? But
Hmm. It's almost like if you know the basis on the culture, you can actually build off of that, and realize you might have accidentally made a fucking stereotype by trying to be progressive here. Hmm.
Actually says, Zhang Meilin dove further into the forgotten characters of Chinese mythology and saw herself in the women whose stories were lesser known or entirely lost.
Do you even know? Do
Because
you
of
know? Do you
men.
even know about the Chinese Earth Mother? Do you even know that when you were looking that up? There's a variety of Chinese heroines. There's also Fa Mulan, who's one of the most well-known characters to the point where Disney made a movie about her twice. Thanking an extermination camp, by the way, for the second one.
Um, I just like her drive. Eradicate outdated Chinese traditions to create a better future for her
She
chosen.
she's Maoist. She's Mao Zedong thought. That's literally the concept of Mao Zedong thought.
Mao Zedong thought, but with biologically enhanced animals.
Oh, this is amazing.
Oh no 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 no! It's a feminist. She says this dancer with her sibling has trained her to make use of those weaker than her. She personally mentors young women, sharpening the cruelty in their hearts while instilling them an unshakable loyalty within. She's amassing a group of those fanatically loyal and infinitely useful who will support her takeover. So yes, she is wanting to be the female Mao Zedong mixed with a Pol Pot.
It's even better when you keep in mind that this literally is the stereotype for women in power in China. It's why they fucking hate women in power. Oh my god, she's not like perfectly one to one of that stereotype, but that's amazing. That's amazing. In their effort to try to seem diverse, they fucked up. They fucked up.
And let's see.
And then you got
There's
the
mine.
Dragon King, who's like immortal,
Yeah,
and who cares?
minor. I think we landed on when they um literally embodied Chinese misogyny. But we do have the ancient flashbacks.
Oh yeah, let's
Uh,
take a look at this shit.
it is the 16th. I
Oh,
want to read
don't
this in
forget the
like.
minor tombs, like the tomb of the Jade Emperor. A minor
Oh,
cosmological figure in Chinese creation mythos. Up there with the Yellow Emperor.
the tomb of faceless chaos.
The tomb of Nyarlathotep. I think that.
No, it's to Hundun, who embodies the nebulous state of the universe. Oh, it's the King in Yellow.
Yeah,
I'm calling it. It's the fucking King in Yellow.
I wouldn't be surprised if they stole from
Well,
Call of
actually,
Cthulhu.
actually, the queen. Well, no. I don't know if it's an actual guy or not, but it is the Queen in Yellow, I guess. Then,
I don't know. I'd have
hey,
to
hey,
actually look this one up.
hey, embodying more of that misogyny. The god of chaos is a woman.
I will state that I'm not entirely perfect on Chinese cosmology, so I don't know if this is an actual deity, but you know what I actually have the honesty to do? Admit that I don't know this.
Let me just copy and paste.
I would not be surprised if
No,
this
it
is a real.
is. It
Okay,
is.
I wanted to make
It's
sure.
it looks like a giant, like it's like a dog without a head and wings and 6 legs.
Yeah. Okay. That
Behold chaos.
that's good. That's good. I'll give respect at least on the basic culture that this aspect is correct. Then.
Yeah. So going to the flashbacks, it is the 1660s. Dutch soldiers barged into the tomb of the Dragon King. You know, proclaiming with his pearls, Taiwan will be theirs.
What?
Uh, well, no, then 1840s, two Chinese adventurers take it. In the
What?
1910s, Americans working for the United States National Museum invade the heart of the tomb. Well, I'll be, one says. That old legend was true. I told you, his companion said. Come on, let's get to work. Better lure some specimens before they go extinct. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Wow.
Is the 1960s. Chinese soldiers armed with hammers penetrate the tomb. In Chairman Mao's name, our faith is immortal, as is our voiced by them. Our faith is immortal, as is our dragon. We are indestructible. The shadows coalesce into the form of a woman, her eyes glowing jade green. A terrible storm rages, flooding the tomb and shrouding it in darkness.
These are all lame.
It is the 2000s. A young Chinese girl gently cradles the pearl and weeps. She prays in English, begging Long Wang, Long Wang to help her discover her true birth year and find her birth parents. Eh? I don't.
That might be based on a. I'd have to look up natural disasters because there are occasionally earthquakes. I don't know if there was one during this time period or if she was just an orphan. I will say, however, in terms of the flashbacks, I think it's kind of lame that all of them. I like how all of them, but the last one just results in their death and that one doesn't. That's kind of lame.
Let's see. Then
Also,
they
it's
do.
really fucking ham-handed. These flashbacks are stupidly ham-handed.
Yeah. And well, that's about it then. Oh, but then there's other sample characters such as um, Jacqueline Natal, once a member of the ancient triumvirate that ruled Atlantis.
Cool.
Apparently, she's gone toe to toe with Laura Croft multiple times. I don't know if this person is from the games or not.
Probably, and I don't care. Yeah, I think it might be a real character, and I just don't care.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah, these are actual characters.
Um, yeah, using Atlantean secrets, Caleb, the Maker of Kings, the Seven Blades. Oh, these are things that we've. Oh, here, Isolf Lochnet, page 263. Um, Once part of a small, isolated community, leveraging the knowledges of his once community of being brushed with the supernatural truth as a child, he spun that into a career as a social media superstar and a new age guru.
Okay. I cast Liar Liar Pants on Fire, sends forth the power of the sun in the form of 7th level fireball. That's kind of how I feel. My brain is just starting to fall apart.
Guinevere Khan, she, they, it.
Also, you like the term Arasaka? I wonder where I stole
Hmm,
that from.
Out.
Also, Super Soldier, she, they, it. Just fuck off.
Uh,
Just fuck off.
and that's it.
Yeah,
Uh, uh, uh,
that's all the slop.
yeah. As Pagan Pilot says, I think summarizes this best. This game colonizes the idea of anti-colonialism with its ignorance.
Yeah, no truer words have been spoken than those. Holy shit.
This is a playtest. Again,
Yeah,
we probably show,
let's be kind. The playtest might get slightly better.
but They're not changing the game system. There's no way that they're going to go that far back.
That is the problem because the game system sucks, its game construction sucks, and I think they're pretty hard committed to what they've made already. So there might be some attempts to tweak it to be a little less ignorant, but other than that, I think we're about where it would be, other than maybe some balancing. Maybe they might actually have death states because of the stuff that we pointed out. Because as far as I'm concerned, none of your characters can die. Yeah, you might have to retire them, but you can just kind of pull them back by bullshitting if you argue hard enough. And it's
Yeah,
not
this
and it's
is.
not like it matters because they're unlike some powered by the apocalypse systems, you know what this one doesn't do? This one doesn't really allow you to advance. Like powered by the apocalypse tend to have almost no advancements possible, but this one's even flatter than normal in that regard. So I
So,
don't see the point. I don't see the point. I really feel like you should at least be able to kill a character.
and yeah, it's just fucking awful.
This is
It's
awful on every fucking level
it is
possible and then some.
it is more restrictive than a fucking on rails shooter, I'd say.
It is. You only have the selected moves. You don't have the ability to create your own backstories or anything. You can't really create unique characters. It doesn't help you at all in learning how to build a character with personality or enjoyment. It uses a fucking video game flowchart analysis to determine how your adventure works in the style of a lesson plan. It is preachy. It is also ignorant in its preachiness, and it's basically just reheating the same slop that was made in the 1960s, just without the Marxist-Leninism aspect as obviously. But even then, it doesn't even pull that off. I think, unironically, we talked more about post-colonial thought than this fucking book did.
Well, we actually pointed it out. In this, they're kind of you can tell they're subtly putting it in, like when they're talking about the truths, when they're talking about you know
Yeah, but you can
um
tell I don't even think they know what the
altern
fuck they're talking about. Like I don't even think they have read to the Society of the Wretched,
wretched of the earth.
Wretched of the Earth. I don't think
We're
they've
gonna
even read that.
no, they probably have in school, but they
Yeah,
just
but
don't
they
really
sure as
remember.
fuck don't remember it. All in all, this is a god awful book. I actually think this might be one of the worst ones mechanically overall.
The thing is, though, we can't put it on the shelf until it actually officially comes out because it might get worse.
It might get worse. It also might get better. Um, I had a wild ride. I got infuriated. I laughed. I cried. I saw tears. I saw stars. I stroked out. Um, I don't know whether or not to rate this as deep hurting or a why so, because I had a fucking wild time with this piece of shit.
I'd say a bit of a deep hurting because of why so is at least something that you can enjoy playing.
True, it did break me.
This is not something that I think we'd enjoy playing.
Yeah, this is a garbage fire, deep hurting. I kind of started laughing at the end because it's just so fucking bad. Um, yeah, actually, I'm gonna have to rate it deep hurting. This fucking sucks. This this might be the worst powered by the apocalypse book we've ever looked at.
And that's including the one in which you can actually kill people by saying bad words to them.
Yeah. Straight up, this is the worst powered by the apocalypse. It's also the worst Blades in the Dark book that we've ever looked at because we've read the other one we read was Candela Obscura, and I would say that one was far more innocuous if forgettable mechanically.
Yeah. In this one, it's just too. It's just so fucking boring. It's rolling fucking d6s, and the only way you can actually succeed is on a six.
So we actually have from the chat, Pagan Pilot thinks it's a garbage fire. I can agree with that. Squirrel Killer's actually deeming this a true namer, where it's not even a game.
Well, I think
I think the
this
problem is mechanically, there's enough mechanics that you can actually play a game. It has a
and,
style of play and function.
and here's the other thing. it is supposed to be, as I said, play it like a video game, and a video game is a game.
Oh yeah, that's deep hurting. I'm gonna have to rate it deep hurting. I forgot about the video game comment. That just I every time we like each page we found something horrible, like something even dumber than the last page.
I guess instead of playing this, play actual video games that have translated tabletop game or tabletop rules into this. So, Planescape Torment, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic games, Baldur's Gate 3, I guess Baldur's Gate in general, and Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout's a good point. In terms of tabletop games, it's dated, and the West End game system is a bit clunky because it's a bit on the older side because it's a kind of an old system. Indiana Jones, just play the Indiana Jones West End games. Honestly, play any fucking system because the concept of dungeon delving is something you can do in anything, even the storyteller system if you're particularly inclined.
Uh,
I,
Play Fatal,
I
because at least in that game, there's a chance to not just kill your characters, but everyone in that world.
yeah. Another one, one I would heartily recommend if you want a relatively rules. It's a little clunky to learn at first, but I heartily recommend just doing a Call of Cthulhu game, but you really emphasize the adventure part of the horror. Like you play it more like at the Mountains of Madness, where you're on an expedition and you find the horrible truth of the world. Um, this book is genuinely shit. I feel like Evil Hat Productions completely pissed away its licensing fee, and I really think they would have lost money if it wasn't for the fact shit like this gets kickstarted.
And do remember, we did scroll past their link to their Google form. Please leave your thoughts
I will
in the
simply say
comments.
that their public game testing actually does have public feedback available. You can do that. Um, I also have linked to where you can pre-order, even though I honestly think that you shouldn't get a copy of this fucking pile of crap. Um, like I said, we have a Discord for those of you new. Feel free to join up and I don't know, commiserate with us, get drunk, and yeah, next week I'm gonna get something good. And I will, and
Right.
I'm not kidding when I said I will find something that will destroy you one of these days.
Let's see.
ImpCit shall be destroyed one of these days. God. Yeah, I don't know what the hell we're doing next week. I'll just dump it on you guys probably Sunday, either Sunday morning or if we do another Monday stream then, because right now my brain's been colonized by parasites. Fuck.
So like RFK.
Yeah, there's a worm in my brain, and it's
Well,
died from this.
well, no, RFK is worm food. RFK Jr. is the one that's got the parasites.
So yeah, next week we'll figure something out. I don't have a brain. He's getting drunk and eating something. I'm fucking off. Not y'all.